Now we're live. What's up, everyone? Andre here, along with Dawn and Nick, as usual, to talk about the fact we're only 1 week away from the Switch 2. Isn't that insane?
It's
Yeah,
honestly crazy. I can't
yeah.
believe it. I think now it's going to be a little bit slower leading up to it, but yeah, it's hitting me now.
You think
For
so?
me, it's technically close to 6 days now, which feels even weirder.
Yeah, because Dawn's in future time, being in Europe, and
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
are a week or less at this point from Switch 2, which is wild. Nintendo themselves just tweeted out this fact, which is perfect timing because we had been playing this discussion before that even happened, of course. So that's a fun little tie-in. But yeah, we're a week away. I know, Nick, you mentioned that you think time's gonna go slower for you. Honestly, I think it's just gonna keep going the same pace for me. Like, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, and it's gonna be here. Like, it's gonna be crazy that we're this close to the brand new. I say brand new, but it's so much of a iteration. But Nintendo's next major era, including Mario Kart World, the Switch 2 editions of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, all the third-party games launching in that day. Which, by the way, Sega just posted a new trailer of the new Puyo Puyo Tetris coming out that day. I'm so stoked, not just for that game, but more specifically that stupid camera. Because they're using the camera in that game so you can see your faces behind all the playing fields for each player. I'm like, that's genius. That's so fun. And I have to say, the more I see that stupid freaking camera, the more I'm kind of falling in love with it. So I really hope that people end up embracing it so that it is used by more games, because all the uses for it I've seen are really cute. In any case, we have a lot I want to talk about, because there's been some news about things as it pertains to Switch 2, including the fact that we have the release date for Pokemon Legends ZA, October 16th, was it? October 16th? Yes, nailed it. Awesome.
Yes.
Which I think, if you're a Pokemon fan, that's exciting, but also it helps fill in the gaps on the Switch 2 schedule. So I want to do a fun little exercise where we're going to rearrange where we think the rest of the games could fall in line now that we know what the October title seemingly is. Beyond that, though, Nintendo's going to be at Summer Games Fest to some capacity, which is exciting. Which is, by the way, the next, is it just a day after the Switch 2 launches, or that weekend?
Yeah.
Day after.
Yeah.
Crazy, absolute craziness. So we're gonna see how that goes. Then there are rumors of a Nintendo Direct happening as soon as a week after the Switch 2, I believe. So right around Summer Games Fest time, essentially. So I want to talk about that. If we think that could happen, what might be there? Anything else I'm missing? What other news is there? Is that it?
That's really it,
Mario
right?
Party, Mario Party Overview happened.
Yes, thank you. I want to talk about that. We got new details about the Mario Party Switch 2 edition, plus Jamboree TV on Switch 2 just last night, including 2 new modes, and the fact that you can actually play the camera, or some of the Bowser mode, at least, which is focused around the camera, without the camera in a few instances. So this is all exciting stuff, but I do want to start off overall by saying, hey Robert, good seeing you in the chat. But I do want to start off by just talking about our general hype, our thoughts and hype in general for Switch 2 at this point. We're close. We're only 6 to 7 days away. How are we feeling in general right now?
It's a weird influx situation because, for a while, I was just watching videos and just constantly reminding myself, hey, Switch 2 is happening. But now I'm sort of more living in the moment where I'm currently playing Fantasy Life I on Switch 1. And also, what also happened this week is that they announced that the Switch 2 edition, which is only going to be like $3, is going to be also a launch day thing. So to me, it's like, oh, I'm already sort of transitioning to Switch 2 because I'm playing a game that will have a Switch 2 edition on launch day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's great. That's awesome. It almost feels like you're playing a Switch 2 game right now, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fun. So is that affecting your hype at all? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I'm more excited to just directly compare the two once now the Switch 2 comes in, because now I have a physical enhancement difference, not a game that I've not touched for a while and then come back into, like Zelda. It's like a game I'm actively playing and then will continue to play on Switch 2 will have a marginal difference, and I can actually tell the marginal difference directly.
You're raising an interesting point in general right now, because there's so many, not just that game, although it is especially applicable to that game, but so much of what people are doing now on Switch, they'll be able to continue to do on Switch too. In a way, it almost feels like, I don't even know what to describe it as, but it's such it's an interesting transition in that for many people, it will barely feel like a transition, right? You can keep playing the same games you're playing by and large on Switch 2 with maybe some modest enhancements, which is great. But it does kind of lend it, I think, an interesting feeling this generation, where it is both a big upgrade, but also at the same time, a very seamless transition to the point that it may not even feel like you're playing on anything much different at the same time, depending on what you are playing, right?
I mean, it will be marginally different. Like, it's still a huge increase in screen size, especially somebody who plays in handheld mode.
If you play in
I
handheld
will
mode,
notice
definitely.
that. Yeah, I will notice that difference right away.
Right.
Like, I have no doubt that I noticed the difference immediately when I started picking up the Switch 2, putting the update in, and then start to continue playing.
Right. Nick, how are you feeling?
So yesterday I went to my local GameStop to check what the deal was going to be for next week for the launch event. And I walked up and there was a sign on the front that said like Switch 2 event launch party. I was like, what the heck? So then I walked in and I asked, I was like, so what's the deal with that? They're like, oh, at like 4 o'clock, that's when you can like get up and set up online. We're doing like a tournament for Smash Bros. We're doing a tournament for Street Fighter. We're gonna have a DJ. We're gonna have food trucks. We're gonna have a costume contest. So no joke, they're doing everything.
Wow.
So once I saw that, I'm like, okay. Like I was expecting to show up maybe around like 8 or 9, but now I might be going earlier for all this Switch 2 stuff for the launch event. But yeah, if anyone in chat, like go check your local GameStop if you have it pre-ordered at GameStop. Because your GameStop might be doing it a little bit different than mine. I think each one's going to be doing it a little bit different. But yeah, my GameStop is going all out. And I even asked too, my GameStop will have extra units for people that didn't have a chance to pre-order it. So they said show up if you don't have one pre-ordered. Like I asked for a friend, they're like show up at 4 p.m. You're going to have to wait till midnight. You should be able to get one if you show up early enough. But yeah, so if you don't have it pre-ordered, check your GameStop. If you do have a pre-ordered GameStop, go check because you could be having a big event like mine, like a DJ, a tournament. There's so much going on, so I'm pretty excited now.
So you're showing up for that?
Yeah, I think I will.
That's
I think
cool.
I'm going to show up, compete in maybe like the Smash Bros tournament, the Street Fighter one, maybe. Like I said, there's going to be food trucks, so like I'll be
amazing.
entertained.
I can,
yeah.
I can already tell you based on the location of the GameStop I'm going to, they're going to do absolutely nothing for it. There's going to be nothing special about this launch. I will be lucky.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm similar, right? Because like we're not in like as much as a 24/7 society here. So literally next morning, at some point, I will get the Switch 2 in through DHL, and just the rest, I will just sprint to a toy store and get the rest of the stuff that I need, including the camera and the games.
Right. Well, that might include something else too here, Don. This is breaking news I'm seeing. I'm just confirming it myself right now, but apparently, if you go to the Nintendo Today app and look, this could... Okay, hold on. I'm not seeing it in my app, so this could be... I don't know if this is real or fake. Someone has tweeted out that if you look at Nintendo Today for June 16th, that... Hold on, let me go back here. Sorry, where did this link go?
I'm checking mine right now.
It's okay, yeah, June 16th, it shows an Animal Crossing Direct. I'm not seeing that, though, on my end, so I don't know if they already fixed it.
No, I'm not seeing it on that one mine either.
So that... Maybe it's fake. I don't know. Has anyone else seen this? I don't know if anyone else has seen this. So maybe we'll circle back to that. That'd be a crazy look if that's actually true or not. Maybe they already fixed it. Maybe it didn't exist at all. In any case, that seems way too soon for a new Animal Crossing. Yeah, I think it's a troll.
I don't think that it's real.
Yeah.
I checked too. The 16th would be a Monday. That's kind of bizarre for Nintendo to do a direct on a Monday. I can't remember the last time they had a Monday direct.
Megan Nerd was saying the exact same thing the moment you started talking about, so I think you're right. So that's probably a false alarm. We have a super chat from Anderson Blitz, who with $10. Thank you so much for the big super chat. They say they're lucky that I was selected to get a Switch 2 on June 5th at Nintendo New York, and says it's coming out on my birthday week, and I missed out on Switch 1. This would be the best console launch experience for me. And they put like a crying heart, eyes heart emoji. That's awesome, Anderson. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad you're able to experience the hype of a Switch launch after missing out on Switch 1 at the time. So that's exciting. And I think for a lot of people, this is going to be a really exciting launch, especially as they're pairing it with a unique title they've never done before at launch, being Mario Kart, a new Mario Kart in the form of Mario Kart World. And it's not just a Mario Kart, it's a new take on Mario Kart, which is, I think it's the most exciting Mario Kart has been since Double Dash for me. Like, I don't think I've been this hyped for a new entry, because no other Mario Kart has been this different, before. And that's awesome. Like, I'm honestly, at this point, I'm more hyped for Mario Kart World than I am the Switch 2 itself. Am I alone on that?
I feel similar. Like, I'm more excited to actually play games on it. Like, once again, that Fancy Life thing, I'm like looking forward to continuing Fancy Life, which is more so than looking at the console itself. It's more so continuing playing games that I already have plus new ones.
Right.
It's a completely different beast entirely, because with Switch 1, it was a different beast entirely.
Yeah. With
Switch 2, we kind of know what we're expecting. I think a little bit.
I think that's kind of why I feel a little different with this launch. Like, It's so weird because I had said before the Wii U was like the least hyped I'd been for a launch, but in that case it was because of the games. The games at a launch weren't that exciting. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I love Nintendo Land, but it wasn't that exciting to look forward to, right? And of course, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, or not Deluxe, New Super Mario Bros. U was kind of whatever. For a launch title, like that was underwhelming. Whereas here, like I feel like the hardware is such a known factor because it's so similar to the Switch One. I'm not all that excited for it innately, though I am excited for it. But Mario Kart World is an exciting software launch, so it's kind of interesting that how my hype is almost the inverse of what it was for the Wii U, which I think is probably better in this case because the games are what ultimately matters, But I still wish at the same time that the Switch 2 had a few more new things to it. I felt like a bigger jump than it is in the hardware department.
I mean, if you also look at the overall lineup, right, there are about 25 games on Switch 2 launch day.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, comparison to Switch 1, it was like 3 or 4 retail games, and the majority were either smaller titles like Fast, like we're getting now, or mostly arcade archives. It's a completely different launch entirely because it's a good chunk third-party games, Mario Kart on top of that, plus a few smaller things like the 4x4 chapter of Deltarune and Fast.
Right.
That's pretty good overall.
That's not even to mention the NSO stuff, right? Like the Zelda games upgrades that we'll get and the GameCube.
Yeah,
right? Like that's not mention those stuff.
What? Yeah, 10 games was it? No, 11 games at launch essentially that have those free Switch 2 upgrades, which is awesome. And then furthermore, I was going to mention how like Sega themselves have 3 games at launch, which is crazy. All of which look great in their own way, I myself am most excited for Puyo Puyo Tetris, as I mentioned. I'm so stoked for that now, especially with that camera feature. Robert in the chat, one of our channel members, says, yeah, my hype level is a little low. I would be more hyped if there were more high-end third-party announcements. Maybe I just don't know them all, lol. I think, it really depends on your taste in games for sure. Cyberpunk, I think, is going to be one of those games, though, that people are going to be really excited for on Switch 2. Because I will say, Cyberpunk's not the type of game I would generally be much interested in. I will say, though, playing it on Switch 2, like seeing it working on the Nintendo system at the Dallas event, it blew me away. I did not expect to be blown away by a third party, or by a third party game in particular. That game blew me away. It looked amazing on the platform, which is great. So I don't know if that's up your alley, Robert, but hopefully some other games are. But I totally get you. Also, wait, another super chat real quick from Matthew. Thank you. Matthew says, honestly, Mario Kart World is on Switch. I'd wait on Switch 2. That's exactly why it's not on Switch 1.
No, that's fair, yeah.
Beyond the fact that it may not work on the system, but regardless, that's totally why it's not going to be on Switch 1. They want people to buy Switch 2. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a good chunk of players who mostly played for the Nintendo games, and once again, that is 100% fair. For me, I'm more excited about the landscape in general on day one, because there's so much.
Right.
Like, there's a little bit for everybody, depends on the type of player you are.
Yeah.
And will it appeal to everybody? No. But at least they're trying to have more flexibility there, which wasn't really there in most previous launches on, say, 3DS, Wii U, Switch.
Right.
Yeah, and like you said, Dom, the flexibility it really is there, right? Like, because when you're done with Mario Kart, you can always go over and check over the upgrade packs for Zelda, right? Like, if you're done with that, you can check out the free upgrades for, like, Scarlet and Violet, or Mario Odyssey, or one of those other 9 Nintendo first-party games. And then if you're done with that, and if you're a part of NSO, like, then you can try the GameCube titles. Like, there's a bunch of little things that you'll be jumping back and forth between for, like, the whole, like, first month or two.
That's actually really unique. That is a unique feature of the Switch 2 that I can't recall any other system doing. The only similar one I can think of would be kind of like the Game Boy Color. Like, you go back, you see how did my old Game Boy games look, in some color, right? Which you could kind of do with the Super Game Boy too. But it also had like those games, kind of like the Switch 2 editions, that worked on both versions of the hardware. You could play on the original Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, like Link's Awakening DX, And I think that's actually a really neat and unique element of the Switch 2 that is kind of breathing new life into some of the library games you already have, with those enhancements, the Switch 2 editions, whatever it may be, or just want to revisit it in general on the Switch 2. Like, even games that aren't getting any inherent upgrades may have extra value on Switch 2 thanks to, for instance, the Game Chat feature, right? Where I could casually play Stun Race FX on the Super NES app and have you guys hang out with me if you want.
or the faster, like, storage that inside of it, so, like, games will load fast.
Good point. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great point. Real quick, I saw a chat from another YouTuber here. Let's see, I'm trying to find their message right now. Where was it? It was from Ghosty MPA, I hope I parsed that correctly. They say, man, I can't wait for the Nintendo Switch 3 in 2033. And I want to bring up, did you see the dumb tweet I made yesterday? Let me see if I can bring it up here, if I can show this. Where I had the logo link for Switch 3. It's not a link, I just made this. But you see what I did there? Do you see what I did there?
The W is a 3.
And it kind of looks like almost like angry Splatoon eyes to me or something, right? Like it's an angry logo. This is the extreme logo in the future. Anyways, I thought that was dumb.
Also happy 10th anniversary Splatoon.
Yeah, oh right, it's good timing. Just yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So yeah. I can't believe that game's 10 years old. I remember I remember playing Splatoon 1 at E3 and when it came out and just having so much fun in that game. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
I remember us for context, we got a separate review copy outside of the regular one where a bunch of all of us were just in lobbies together,
right.
And then that version shut off, and then we got an entirely new version where they start from fresh.
Yeah. Well, the game was all about being fresh, right? So
yeah.
Let's see. We had another. We have a message from a new member on the channel. I believe a new member on the channel, being Roger. Roger, thanks for being a member, an early access member. They say, "Happy Thursday, 1 week, baby. Let's go." I know it's crazy. Like it's weird. I mean, it's wild to me how fast the time has gone. Like I kind of anticipated this, but it's still crazy looking back. I mean, especially it wasn't all that long ago when we didn't even know when the Switch 2 what was actually even officially going to be. Right? Like, it wasn't all that long ago when the leaks finally started happening, and then we got the confirmation. But now here we are on the cusp of a new era for Nintendo. And it's just kind of wild to think about. Like, we are so close now to this new era, kind of gaming, and new games, new Switch 2 games, and all that. I don't know. It's just wild to think about.
Yeah, I think it was back in January that we were watching the reveal trailer.
Right.
And that's when all the leaks were happening. Like you said, like that time just flew by.
It did. It's wild. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy.
I think their information deliverance have not been as effective as I would have hoped.
Oh, for sure.
Like after the direct until now, there have been like snippets here and there on the Today app. Some have been good, some have been less. But it hasn't been really in the way of like, even for third party, not many announcements games wise.
Right.
It's been sort of on the slow end.
That is the odd thing.
Yeah.
With as much support as there is on day one, it seems like we haven't gotten as many follow-up announcements as I thought we might be by this point. We kind of talked about this a little bit before, so I don't want to belabor it too much.
No, for sure.
But I do wonder if that's a function, I think, as I mentioned earlier, of maybe some dev kits just going out later than others for some studios, especially smaller ones, right? And maybe that's why. So maybe we'll get those announcements in the near future once they start ramping up that development. But yeah, I mean, based on, it seems like, I'm really curious to see how this launch goes. It almost seems like that, I mean, we're hearing reports, I mean, stores already are getting Switch 2s, of course. We've seen pictures and evidence of that. Some people already have Switch 2s, actually. Someone asked earlier if we're going to talk about the leaks, and we will to some degree, I'm sure. But also, like, it seems like stores are going to have inventory beyond the pre-orders available on day one, which is great. That's awesome news. So if you didn't get pre-order, you still have a chance of getting one. And I'm really just curious to see how this goes. Like, is this going to sell out? Will it be pretty easy to pick up a Switch 2, even if you didn't pre-order it? Like, I'm really curious to see what the situation is here. Because Nintendo, it seems like, has made a deliberate effort to have tons of these units available. So I don't think it not selling out it's not going. I mean, it may not necessarily be a bad thing in this case, unlike with the Wii U, where it was a bad thing, but there weren't that many. There weren't a ton of Wii U's available, yet it still didn't sell out. So it'll be fun, or it'd be interesting to see just how everything shakes out here in the weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, I think if you show up to your local store like a few hours before, if you don't have one pre-order, I think you might have a chance to get one. Yeah. Maybe over the following weeks. I think the bigger issue that we might be avoiding, which is going to happen, is how well is Nintendo going to be able to handle everyone downloading all this stuff? Right? Like everyone's going to be downloading Mario Kart because most of the people got the bundle. So yeah, so it's digital. So like I don't think we've ever ran into this situation before where everyone's getting a brand new console and they're just downloading one specific game to play that day, right? Like unless I'm missing something,
it's
right?
It's not just that, like because once again, most of the games are game key cards when they come to physical games, and those have to be downloaded too, not directly from the eShop but directly from their servers, because they download the data directly to your menu screen. It's like that's going to be hell, because everybody's going to download, say, stuff that's not Cyberpunk, because all of the other third-party games are full downloads. Like Street Fighter 6 is 70 gigabytes.
That's huge. Yeah, that's gonna eat up like a quarter of your memory right there. Like,
Yeah, right.
That's crazy. So hopefully some people are getting SD cards for those bigger games. What's the biggest biggest file size for Nintendo officially? Is it like the 20 gigabyte range for the Zeldas, or do we know?
Are you saying like just the game in general size?
Yeah.
I think it's about Mario Kart World is 23.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
23.
Mario
That's
Kart
bigger
World
than I thought.
Yeah, I think the Zeldas are
17?
larger than that.
Are they bigger? I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in any case, I don't think they're good. I don't think we have anything like in the 30 range from Nintendo, which is good. Because that, especially with some people's download speeds too, like it might take a while to download Mario Kart World at that size. Luckily I upgraded my internet recently, so hopefully it won't take me too long, but it's going to depend on Nintendo servers, right? Like if they get hammered immediately, that could be bad news. Especially because... Go ahead, Don.
Yeah. They don't have the excuse of a bad Wi-Fi chip anymore. It has Wi-Fi 6.
Right, exactly.
So the only excuse right now is that their servers get hammered.
Right. Real quick, Nocturne in the chat says, it feels like it's only been a few hours since the Direct. It really does, right? The Direct does not feel all that long ago, and it's wild that, again, we're here at this point.
God.
Canadian asks, I think it's a great idea that Nintendo is launching it this time of year, too, because it'll probably sell out pretty quickly. I think they'll have enough time to make more for Christmas. Yeah, I mean... It's not all that dissimilar to the Switch 1. It is launching a little bit later in the year, but it's early enough still that they can have that essentially dual launch I've talked about, earlier, where you have your main launch earlier in the year, then you have your follow-up in the Christmas season, possibly paired to some kind of big game. Now, that does kind of bring up a point that I want to maybe not get to right now, but I do want to go at some point explore how the schedule is going to work for the Switch 2 edition, or for the Switch 2 game lineup. Because now that we know Pokemon Legends ZA is coming in October, it really makes me interested to see how the other games are going to fall into place. Like Metroid Prime 4, Drag X Drive, Kirby Air Riders, Hyrule Warriors, and I guess that's basically it. Because everything else we have a release date for, I think, for the first party titles, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for the first party titles, or first half, we're already almost through the first half. I guess I should say the summer half. Yeah. We already know all those release dates. But yeah, for the later half of the year, closer to the holidays, we have no idea besides Pokemon.
Now, do you think we're going to find out... Oh, go ahead, Don.
No, you go ahead.
Do you think we're going to find out anything more from Nintendo at the Summer Games Fest? Because Jeff Keighley posted yesterday a bunch of, I think over 60 partners involved with this, one of which is Nintendo, or specifically the Switch 2 logo was on there. And are we expecting anything from them at this show? Do you think it just might be in the form of like, ads or previews for games that are already out, previews in quotes, or do you think they might actually have something new to show here at this show? Because I don't think they typically haven't, to my memory. They typically don't have a big presence at this show, or any kind of presence. So this is kind of new, I believe.
Does he put the logo for Nintendo during like the Game Awards? Like I assume like there's like a sponsored page, or like who we're gonna show at the Game Awards outside of the people that are nominated, because I know like the worst case scenario, or well, I should say we should keep our expectations to. It might just be a trailer saying like, oh, here's third-party games that are playable on the Switch too.
Right.
And that might be it. It might be like a quick sizzle reel, like we've seen at like the Game Awards or something. Or it's like, oh, you can play games on your Nintendo Switch too. It's like, wow, I didn't know that, Nintendo. Yeah. Like it could be something as simple as that.
I'm going to reverse the question a little bit. From the free Keighley presentations we get every single year, how much of the last few years were actually promoted or actually had stuff from Nintendo? And I would argue very little.
Mm-hmm.
The only times I can remember it is like the Smash characters, right? Like you think of like Joker being there, and then you think
that was forever ago at this rate.
And that's 2018.
Joker was 6 years ago.
That's
yeah,
pre-pandemic. That was 30 years ago.
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels like 30 years ago. But yeah, like I think that was about it. Like I don't think we've ever gotten anything bigger than that.
No. Yeah, no, I think you're right. So that's why my expectation is that this is kind of nothing. Like I think they're there as a as a supporting member, in the sense that they'll advertise the Switch 2 in the games, especially with it being just like a couple of days, a day and a couple of days, the days after the Switch 2 event, or launch. I can't imagine there being any major announcements quite yet. I think anything major is going to come from the Nintendo Direct, which there have been rumors now, I think from that, I forget their name, that Brazilian account.
Brazil.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they mentioned that there is a Direct, I think, coming up within a week or the week after the Switch 2 launch. Was that right? Is that the date range they gave?
Yeah, that was the rumor dated, yeah. Week or 2 weeks after.
Do we think that's going to happen? Are we expecting a Direct that soon after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it just lines up too well
It
with
does.
the June their June timeline, right? But the crazy thing is, like, has Nintendo ever had a direct so close to a launch of a system? Again, like, given the time that we're in right now, it makes sense because of the
Um,
June E3 timeframe. But has there been anything as close as this?
I mean, when the Switch launched, I remember in the first week of April they had a direct. So it's not completely unprecedented. It will be the shortest time between the system, but it's not unprecedented.
No. It's interesting because yeah, like you just think about it, like on paper, it seems like isn't that too soon for a direct that your new console Mario Kart World just launched, but at the same time, like literally like 1 week after Switch 2, it's gonna feel like Mario Kart World came out forever ago. Like we're all gonna be used to it. We're gonna have fun. We're still gonna be having fun with it. Don't get me wrong, but we're all gonna be
Yeah.
wondering, okay, what's next, right? Now, obviously, we know most of the games coming up this year, if not all of them, but Nintendo still is gonna want to market those. Like they're gonna want, I think, ride the hype wave. Remind us of what's coming up, show us more of those features. Donkey Kong Bonanza is just a little over a month away, will just be a little over a month away at that point. They're going to want to tell us a little bit more about that game, have a new follow-up trailer that hopefully blows it out even more. They're going to want to promote Dragon X Drive, which is coming out this summer, of course. And I'm sure there'll be a surprise or two in there as well. I don't know what they'll be, but yeah. Third-party games.
I'm surprised there hasn't been yet a overview trailer for Donkey Kong Bonanza, considering they already did one for Mario Party.
Right. And Mario Party comes out that same day as Donkey Kong Bonanza. Or not same day.
The week later.
Week later, right. After Donkey Kong Bonanza, right.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
So I'm assume they're going to have a big marketing push with something in the near future. So a direct makes sense.
Am I
100%.
crazy, or is it possible that the direct is just a Donkey Kong Bonanza direct?
I don't assume so. There seems to be outside of August, there doesn't seem to be much else really like specifically dated outside of Pokemon. So I would assume they would need to have a big push where they date a bunch of stuff, and it sort of lines up in the grand scheme of things to maybe touch on that stuff too.
After that nothing of a Mario Kart World Direct, anything is possible, Nick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like they're gonna do an overview trailer, but it's gonna be everything we've seen from the treehouse. It's like, oh, did you know as Donkey Kong that you can break through the walls? Like, we've known about this for the past several months. Like, give us a little bit more information about
those
the game.
Nintendo Today teasers are hilarious. It's like, look at this Rock to its idle animations, right, or whatever. It's really silly. But yeah, I think Donkey Kong Bonanza, like for me, that's a game I really need to see more of. Like, it's so weird, but I saw the initial trailer, I loved it. I'm like, that looks amazing, great. But then I actually played the game, I'm like, this game's kind of boring, And obviously, I don't think we can't fully judge a game based on my half an hour of playtime with it. But it did make me a little bit more worried. And it's like, okay, I need to see more of what this game actually is. Because if you look at that reveal trailer, it's kind of like all over the map, right? You see like the 2D segments that look like classic Donkey Kong action, but there was no sign of that in the demo I played. So I'm still curious on how it's all going to come together. We've had rumblings, or maybe not rumblings, but there have been people like deep diving into the game, like anticipating the return of King K. Rool. And if they show, I don't even care how good this game is now. If they show King K. Rool in any capacity, I'm fully on board. Like I'm there. I'm already like I want that. I need King K. Rool to come back. So
it would be awesome if you work alongside King K. Rool. Like, this new group of villains overthrew King K. Rool, and Donkey Kong needs to team up with him in some way to overthrow the new villains. But yeah, Andre, when you played the actual game, did it seem like there was like some mechanics missing, or did it seem like the full build of the game? Like, they weren't hiding anything else. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think what other games to compare it to, but you probably know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah. I mean, my take on it is that the demo I played is straight out the first part of the game. So I don't think they were hiding anything in the sense that they blocked much from us that would be in the game at that point. But I think there's going to be a lot more to the game, obviously, that we just haven't seen yet. We couldn't play to get to, of course, in the demo. But yeah, I guess my concern is the gameplay becoming repetitive. Like, I had a ton of fun for the first like 2 minutes, like breaking everything. Then I'm like, okay, I got it. What am I gonna do now? So that's where I need to see how the rest of it really kind of comes together. And that's why I hope that the direct, if its own direct or part of a bigger direct, actually answers those questions. So real quick, do we want to go over the schedule thing? Would that be fun to do right now? Try and figure out what this schedule is looking like? Okay, let me see if this actually works. I'm going to bring up this Photoshop entry I have. So I've got all the games listed here that we know about. Chat, let me know if I missed anything. But I've already laid them out on this calendar where we can see, ignore the first half of the year. I don't even know why I put them there. But we have Mario Kart in June. July is Donkey Kong, along with the release shortly after of Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 edition. Then we have the Switch 2 edition of Kirby, the Forgotten Land in August. Then we now know Pokemon Legends ZA is in October, but that still leaves some notable gaps. Specifically in August, I'm not really counting Kirby as its own thing. We could maybe, but August there's no brand new game. September no brand new game, nor is there a November and December as well. So that's 4 months after Donkey Kong Bonanza that there could be gaps. Or potential releases that we don't know about. Now, it just so happens that there are 4 games here that are announced that we don't have release dates for, being Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Kirby Air Riders, Drag X Drive, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Right? Is that it? Is that the name? No.
Yeah.
Okay, it is.
Yeah,
Good.
Age of Imprisonment, yes.
Thank you. Just making sure
Wait,
I got
Andre,
the right.
first of all, I like how you have Kirby and Mario Party small on there. Like, they're super tiny.
I mean, that's a weird thing, right? Like, those could... So I think the fact that Mario Party is coming out the same month as Donkey Kong Bonanza might imply that these Switch 2 editions, at least outside of games that haven't launched already on previous hardware, aren't being treated by Nintendo as like the main focus of that month, right? But it could be. Like, if you take a look at Kirby, for instance, that basically has a whole new campaign, right? Maybe not a full-length campaign, but it does have a new campaign. So it is possible that could be the main title in August, and they could bunch up the others in other months. But I don't think they're going to do that. I do think that there will be another game in August, one of the other 4 we mentioned. But here's something we do know. Drag X Drive is a summer title, which means it would have to come out either in June, July, or August, right? Is September summer still? Or is that fall? That's fall,
September,
right?
The
according
first
to
week
Nintendo,
of September is still summer.
Still summer? That could be September then, so...
Yeah. But are we really going to count that, though?
Well, that's the thing. Like, Nintendo will count it because I feel like they did something like that in the past, right? Like, this
Splatoon
come out. Like, yeah, it's like, oh, it's summer. It's like, we're waiting, Nintendo, and it's like, oh, September, like the first week or second week.
Okay,
of
but
September.
we clearly know what happened this year.
Summer.
They just swapped Xenoblade 3 and Splatoon 3 around.
Right. They did do that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, right? Drag X Drive, it's a smaller scale title. They're not charging full price for it, I believe, right? We know that, don't we?
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. I thought we did.
Yeah, there's no price on it. No.
Oh, well, it's digital only though, right? So I think that's
digital only. So like, I guess with that we can assume that it'll be at least maybe $40-50.
Right. Okay, so Drag X Drive has to be. I mean, actually, I say has to be. I mean, it could be in any of these months up to September, then, right? So I guess where do we think it's going to land? I mean, if it could accompany Kirby as like 2 kind of smaller scale titles and act as that, August, the main August release almost, or it could be in September, September's the latest to get up here. So what are we kind of thinking right now?
I do think August, honestly. Yeah.
You think August?
August?
How about you, Nick?
I was thinking September with maybe something else, but again, I can also see it in August with that Switch 2 edition game being Kirby. Because again, like, let's place it for either August or September, because then we can look at Kirby Air Riders and we can easily fit that afterwards. Because again, like, I don't think Kirby Air Riders is going to come a month after, right? Like, there's no way that's coming in September after Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Oh my god, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. We have 2 Kirby games coming up this year. Granted, one's a Switch 2 edition. You would think you want as much separation as possible between those, right? But there's already, like, the separation's already going to be pretty minimal, assuming no delays, because at most we're going to have from August to December, right? So, okay, so where do we want Kirby then? Where do we think Kirby's going to land?
So again, like, this is weird because are we in agreement that we're not going to get 2 games in October? Like, that will just be Pokemon?
I mean, it's Nintendo. Anything is possible.
This is to come to release the new Mario and new Zelda on the same day during the Wii U and 3DS era, but that was different platforms. My inkling is that, especially with being mid-October, I'm feeling like that's going to be the only title that month. I think Pokemon is probably going to be it. Obviously, as Don was saying, it's not possible. It could be something else, but my feeling is that Pokemon's probably going to be it.
So then that could easily have us put Kirby in November, if not December, right? But then again, like, Age of Imprisonment does have coming winter. So again, if we're looking at Age of Imprisonment, Hyrule Warriors, then the earliest it's going to be coming out is December, right? So then for Kirby Air Riders, the latest for that is probably November.
Possibly, I mean, November or December. The thing is with December, I feel like Nintendo tries to avoid December whenever they can. and
Hmm.
go ahead, Don,
They've only
please.
had a few games
I-
this
I-
year, right? Like what,
I-
Xenoblade 2, Smash Ultimate.
I honestly feel, and this is me maybe doom scrolling on this. I either think Hyrule Warriors or Kirby Air Riders won't make this year.
You think? Sorry, repeat that.
I
He
either
thinks
think
either they go-
Kirby Air Riders or Hyrule Warriors Age of Prism won't make it to the end of this year.
I see what you're saying. I also think that'll make a lot of sense because it just feels like a lot of Kirby, right? I mean,
It
for
does
me,
feel like a lot.
here's my guess. If there is going to be a delay, I think Hyrule Warriors will make it. I feel like they got that series down.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to make it. That's locked in. I think Kirby Air Riders is the one that's most likely to slip. In which case,
And we've seen stuff before with Sakurai, so like it's not unheard of for him to delay a game. And on top of that, we've seen gameplay out of the two just for Hyrule Warriors. We haven't seen anything from Kirby yet.
Yeah.
we saw like a 10-second teaser, that showed us
And that was
nothing.
it, yeah.
Yeah. And it's launching in the same year as another big racing game, being Mario Kart World, and that still can be a big game at holiday. It's just, it'll be a big game forever. To be fair, it just
Don't get me wrong. It would be impressive if both of them are coming out
it would
this
be.
year.
I want it.
But what I'm also really thinking here is that there also seems to be like I feel a surprise or two maybe still missing before the direct. And I'm not saying they're going to be big games,
Right.
but I think there is going to be a few more smaller things that are going to fill up the rest of the schedule. And I don't really feel like we have a good overseeing in there. So maybe, I still honestly feel like Drag X Drive is coming out in August. I feel very strongly about it because there's nothing else really carrying that month.
Right.
But with September, we only have seen really properly Metroid Prime 4 over the last year or so.
Yeah.
Is that coming out in September? I would argue there's a good chance to. But also, do you think they should have told us to release that a bit sooner if it's really coming out at the end of the summer?
For Drag X Drive? Or
No,
Metroid?
for
Metroid.
Metroid.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. I think that's actually a really good point. I think if they were confident they were going to be able to deliver it earlier in the year than later, I think we would have that release date. So, when are you thinking then, Don, for Metroid Prime 4?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be in the same month as Pokemon.
You think same month as
wow.
Pokemon? Wow, that's
Yeah.
I mean, they're not direct competitors, so that is a interesting point. Real quick, I like this comment from Haunted Xperia Play. They say none of those racers stand a chance against Garfield Kart 2. 100%. You're right.
Yeah. To me, my gut feeling right now is that there is September something we don't know, and that October is Metroid and Pokemon.
Metroid Pokemon. Interesting. Nick, how are you feeling about Metroid?
I don't know if I can see Metroid taking up that same month as Pokemon, right? Because it's not like technically there are Switch 2 edition games, right? But again, like you're not buying like an upgrade pack. So like if you're buying both of these games for Switch 2, what are you spending? $140 in 1 month?
Yeah.
So seeing how it is with Mario Kart Welcome Toward July being Donkey Kong and Mario Party, and then Kirby with the Switch 2 editions, it seems like they have some strategy where they want to break up these Switch 2 edition games with a brand new game, right? So like I don't know if I can see Pokemon and Pokemon and Metroid in the same month.
Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what my gut's kind of telling me. I'm feeling Metroid Prime 4 for November. I think they might treat that as their big holiday title this year. It might be... You don't see it, Don?
No. I don't... Like, as much as Metroid will do numbers, I don't see it as a big seller.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance that you're probably right. But I do wonder if Nintendo might treat this as like their big opportunity to try and get Metroid Prime the best sales it can. And holiday might be the time for it. That is about when they launched Metroid Prime 1, I believe. I think that came out on the holidays too.
Yeah, but here's the thing that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
There is no overlap between the potential Metroid audience and the Pokemon audience.
No, right, I agree. They don't compete with each other, really.
It's just a gut feeling I have. I could completely wrong, and they could be separated by September, October. But yeah, I have no indication yet that Metroid is coming out in September, and I'm not sure. Even if it comes out in November, Metroid, it would still be a secondary title to something else.
Interesting. I mean, it could be. It is a Switch 2 edition, technically. Even though I feel like that's really undermining. Like, I feel like most people are gonna be treating this game as a Switch 2 title, right? It's got the mouse support, 120 frames per
hope
second.
so.
Yeah.
I really hope so. But I'm also just thinking about it logically, not with my head as a fanboy really of
Right.
Nintendo games. Like if I look at like objectively, I don't see Metroid carrying particularly a month. Like if it comes out in September, great because it has a lot of room to grow and it has its own spot. But I would have assumed they would have told us by now, hey, it's coming out in September.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That's actually kind of why I'm leaning toward November myself, just because I feel like I think although its sales historically haven't been amazing, I do think this could be its best chance at success, and having it be coming shortly after Pokemon, but in November, early November as its own focused release could maybe give it the momentum that would through the holidays that it kind of needs and maybe deserves.
Yeah.
Nick, though, what do you think? Like, help us position Metroid Prime 4. What are you thinking?
I mean, I like Don's point about having it in the same month as like Pokemon, but then again, like I know the fan bases don't cross over, but there's going to be a handful of people that are going to be buying both of these games, and seeing how Nintendo is scheduling with a larger title and a smaller title over the first several months, or the first 3 months over the summer with the Switch 2 games. I think November with maybe another Switch 2 edition game that we don't know of is possible. Again, like going back to the Nintendo Direct that we think is happening in the next couple of weeks, do we think they're going to be talking about any Switch 1 games for this year? Like, is that possible?
It's possible, but no.
Could it be just like,
yeah. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah,
I absolutely think it's possible that there are Switch 1 games in the pipeline. There's no... We're solely talking about Switch 2 right now, but there's absolutely no zero thought in my mind that there's absolutely one or two Switch 1 titles that are still there.
I'm saying coming out like this year, like not Switch 2 games. Like
I don't think they will be big games. I just think they will be ports, but I think they're still coming.
Yeah, interesting. I agree with you, Don, in the sense that I think there's going to be more announcements. I don't think they're going to happen quite this soon, though, because we just had that Nintendo Switch Focus Direct, and I think they would have been there had they wanted to highlight any other Switch 1 games for this year. So I think that any more announcements would probably come later, I would assume, for next year.
Yeah. I do want to tell somebody in the chat, it's like, Stufu, Metroid will sell. It's like, yeah, I was hoping that Metroid will sell better. I'm not saying here that I don't like Metroid games at all. I think Metroid games are great. But I'm also being realistic. Like, they haven't sold... Historically, they sold well. This could change that fact. Like, plenty of other series have sold really well across the Switch generation.
Yeah. Like,
there's an opportunity there. But for that to happen, it needs its own specific slot. And I wonder if Nintendo is going to give it that, because it needs it.
Yeah, you're almost saying you expect it in October, but you kind of hope they do November then, so they get that focus, or
September or November would be the most ideal spot. But I really hope that they do that. They should. But are they? I don't know. I don't think so. But they should.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
It is so tricky, right? Like, because if we put it in September, then it gives us room to put Kirby in November or December, right? Because there's no way that's coming out right after Forgotten Land, right?
No,
like,
I agree.
No way it's gonna be a month apart.
So I'm happy to move this stuff around. I'm feeling right now that I think Kirby is going to be as late as possible. And I'm almost thinking, I wasn't initially planning or thinking there would be a December release, but Metroid Prime 4 does end up in November. I think Kirby would be that December game. However, if Dawn does end up being, if Dawn's inkling is correct, that Metroid Prime 4 is going to be October instead, then I could see Kirby being the November title, and that there just isn't a December title. It's no big one,
Yeah.
So, okay, so real quick, Colin, we still have... I'm gonna leave it here for now. I'm happy to rearrange this if we potentially these two are basically moving up a little bit. But it sounds like we have the basic order figured out right now. So Hyrule Warriors, that means Hyrule Warriors, if Metroid Prime 4 misses September, Hyrule Warriors has to be that month's game then, right? It has to be a September game. Right? Is there anywhere else it can end up?
Unless they push it forward, because in the trailer it says coming
it's coming winter, yeah.
So it is winter.
Up to September, yeah. But we did see gameplay for it. But again, I mean, that doesn't say much that it can be pushed up. But then again, I think Koei Tecmo pushes out these games relatively quickly. So this game is probably almost done, if not done.
That kind of changes things a bit. I forgot about the winter thing. That would mean is October's still fall, right? November, December, or do they consider that winter?
It's fall. October is fall.
So that means the Hyrule Warriors has to be November, December. Okay.
Yeah.
This changes things. Right.
I know.
I honestly, that's why I'm sort of my conundrum with Metroid.
Yeah.
Honestly, Metroid should come out in September.
Honestly, the
sure
more I
it
think
will.
about it, I think you're right
Yeah.
too. Even though I kind of agree that you think they may have announced it so far, I think it's the kind of thing they can shout drop the announcement of, like, a month or two before, and it'll be totally fine. I'm kind of leaning
Yeah.
toward where you're coming from, Don. I think Metro Prime could be that September title. I think that makes actually a lot of sense. Then they follow up with Pokemon. Then we have November, December potentially. So what do we think the order releases then for November, December is? Kirby or Hyrule Warriors first?
I think Kirby November, December, Hyrule.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can see that. Chat, how are we feeling about this? Here's what we're thinking. So we know Mario Kart World's in June. We know in July there's Donkey Bonanza plus the Mario Party Switch 2 edition. August we're thinking Drag X Drive along with Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which we already knew about, right? That one was confirmed, I believe, right?
Yeah, Kirby was confirmed.
We're then thinking September for Metro Prime 4. We know Pokemon's in October. November for Kirby Air Riders, which I think makes a lot of sense, making that kind of like your big focus for the holiday. And then December, Hyrule Warriors. You can drop that whenever and it'll sell. Do we think that makes sense? That's kind of how I think this actually, now that we lock this in, I'm feeling this.
Yeah,
I'm feeling this too, yeah. I do really hope that Metroid comes out in September. I do really hope that. It does need its own space for sure.
I think
that came out in September of 2021, I believe, right? That
October.
came out alongside the October. Was that alongside the OLED?
Yeah, it came out on my birthday on October 8th.
Oh, there you go.
Almond Jello does bring up one point and kind of supports Don's argument earlier. Almond Jello says, remember they released Fire Emblem Warriors and Mario Odyssey only a week apart in the West. That is a great point. I mean, I think it's entirely possible Hyrule Warriors ends up in November alongside Kirby, or maybe Kirby is a December title. Who knows? I think it's possible that these two games aren't competing at all. They could appear within days of each other and wouldn't matter, So yeah. I don't know. I think it's looking pretty good though. Sean likes Metro Prime 4 in December or in November themselves. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't disagree, but yeah,
it could work either. I almost do think that September makes more sense for Metroid. That gives it. I mean, it releases the pressure of being a big holiday title while also still being still in that time frame, and it'll be immediately followed up by Pokemon. So there's that momentum regardless. So even for those who ignore Metroid or don't care about Metroid, there's games still coming immediately thereafter. So. Yeah.
Do we think Nintendo's crazy enough to do a Switch 1 limited edition console for Metroid Prime 4, but not Switch 2?
That'd be hilarious. There's no way. I actually think there's a 0% chance of that. I think that'd be kind of dumb of Nintendo, to be honest.
It would make no sense.
Yeah, it would make no sense. That'd be very silly. So it would be hilarious, and maybe they would do it for that reason. Anyways.
Yeah.
And the other thought...
I still believe, by the way, to continue on this discussion, I still believe that there's one or two surprises that they're holding from us for that potential June Direct.
Yeah, where the hell would they go then? Like, this is actually a pretty packed schedule, like, assuming we're anywhere near being correct.
I mean, they still have another console to support. I'm pretty sure there will be one or two more Switch 1 ports.
Well, you think, wait, I see, 2 Switch 2. Like, so Switch 2 editions, is that what you're saying?
No. Ports specifically made for Switch 1 that you can also play on Switch 2.
Okay, I see.
So like if like a Fire Emblem like remake came out or like a new Fire Emblem game, like it is Switch 1, but then there is a Switch 2 edition.
Like they still want to sell units of Switch 1 as well. It's still an active thing in the marketplace.
Oh, I don't disagree. I just feel like we would have had those already. That's why I'm not thinking we'll get those. Well, I'm thinking, but I mean, you could be entirely right. What I am thinking though is I think we'll get at least one more Switch 2 edition for this year. I think they're still holding off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I'm almost thinking I could be wrong. They could be working on a sequel. I'm almost thinking we'll get Mario Maker Switch 2 edition. The fact that it hasn't been marked as any kind of free enhancements or upgrades like Game Builder Garage has or the other Mario games, I'm thinking that could get Switch 2 edition, brand new content, all existing levels will work in it, which means you're not starting from ground zero, and we'll get like new themes, new objects, and of course mouse support and whatever else. So.
And that's something like if we don't get in the June Direct, they can easily announce in a September Direct. It's like, oh, it's out in November, like shortly after that Direct.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It could almost be a shadow drop, almost.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Any others? Are there any other Switch 2 editions or other surprises you could anticipate? Like, I mean,
here's the thing, right? Yeah. And this is going to be my hard take of today. If they announce a Mario Maker 2 Switch 2 edition, it's coming out in September.
I like it.
Because that's the Mario anniversary.
Oh, that's a great point. That
If
makes
that's
so
the
much
case, then they would
sense.
definitely announce it in the June Direct.
Oh, and I think that would pair actually really well with Metroid Prime 4 if it launches that same month. That's a good pairing, I think. You get your Mario, you get your Metroid, two M's, what more do you need, right? I like that, Don. Now, do you think, is there any chance that Nintendo surprises us and does a Mario Maker 3, or do you think that's unlikely? Or anything else
I think
Mario?
I think it's too packed, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know where you put it, and if you do, then you do just delay Hyrule Warriors, right? Or maybe even delay Kirby and
I
put it in
mean,
that
you
November
don't you
spot
don't
or
have to
September spot.
delay anything. It's just Nintendo's mentality: do it the hard way or the rushed way. Like put as much stuff in there. But I that's why I fully expect one or two things either for Switch One or smaller things that are maybe
Right.
exclusive to the eShop. Like I don't think that this is it fully, but there's not much else big added to it.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Don, in the sense that Nintendo can do whatever the hell they want, and
Yeah.
it'll work out. I do think though, knowing Nintendo has done a really good job, well, at least a better job of like minimizing gaps, and Nintendo's even commented on this in the sense that they want to maintain a consistent schedule. That's why I am thinking it's hard for me to foresee another big title coming out this year that we don't know about, because I mean, unless they have an absolutely stacked next year and they just need places to put games, I feel like anything else would end up being next year. That's why I'm thinking a Switch 2 edition will make a lot of sense. Whether it's Mario Maker 2
Sure,
or
yeah.
maybe Mario Galaxy 2. I could see like a remaster, Mario Galaxy 2 remaster. Maybe that could be a Switch 1 game as well, Don. That could be it. Maybe that's the game you were thinking of,
Yeah.
There's your $60 Mario Galaxy game.
Hey, I would pay it. That game's worth it, okay?
Yeah.
Honestly, don't tell Nintendo I pay $80
Yeah.
for Mario Galaxy 2, alright?
If they don't do something for the 40th Mario anniversary, it's sort of weird because they
Yeah.
all have done something, even if it's not major.
And-
It feels like maybe they'll do something weird in Mario Kart World. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't know.
I mean, that's an interesting point.
You're speaking of Mario. When are they going to show the first trailer for the Mario movie 2? Is that going to be in a September direct? Is that going to be its own individual direct, like a Mario movie direct? Because the movie comes out in April of next year, right? So like
Right.
they're going to have to start talking about it towards the end of
So
the
they
year.
did it the last time they did it during New York Comic Con, the first trailer for the Mario movie.
But I guess even before that is
Which
when
is
they announced
October,
the
I
cast,
believe,
right?
wasn't it?
Because there will probably
Yeah.
be new characters that they're probably going to announce in like a character trailer like that, right? Like we're guessing that there will be some characters that we don't know of, right? That they're going to be like, hey, we got big actors playing this character, so we should show it at some time or announce it at some time.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll follow a similar time frame as the first movie, so September, October would make sense to start the hype train on that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how they'll do it. It could get its own direct again, or maybe Illumination would do their own thing. Who knows? Thalys says Super Mario 4D LOL. There you go. That's our 40th Mario game. I will say though, I think I think there does have to be something else Mario this year, because outside of Mario Kart World, we don't have any other proper Mario representation. And Mario Kart World is its own series, right? I don't think that's a Mario game per se. It's a Mario Kart game. And so
Sure.
I am thinking that there could be like a smaller surprise in there, just as you were saying earlier, Don, to some degree. But
Yeah.
Super Mario Paint 2, yes, Cyborg Fox, that's what I want. I am so hyped for this freaking mouse feature. Like I can't wait to see more games that fully embrace it.
They should have made a WarioWare with mouse controls.
They should have. They will.
They
Give
probably
them
will.
time.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah.
Uh,
Real quick, we've talked about the release schedule, and I'm thinking this is looking pretty good. Is there any chance in hell we get a 3D Mario announcement / possible release this year?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any chance with a stacked year like this. I mean, again, like if you look at the Switch 1 year, there was so many games. But again, Nintendo was like in a dire situation with the Wii U, so I think they needed to go like full to the wall, like everything, just throw everything out so we can
Right.
get it. But yeah, like given that the Switch 2 is coming 3 months after the initial release of the Switch 1, I don't see a 3D Mario coming out this year. Again, with assuming that the Odyssey team is working on Donkey Kong Bonanza, right? Like they
Yeah.
could be
Right.
working on 2 games at once, but yeah, I think next year is when we're going to see it.
So you don't even think we see it this year at all? Like have a reveal.
I don't know. Don, what do you think? Do you think we see it at all? Well, again, so do you think we see it and it gets released this year? Do you think we see it at all, or we just wait till next year to see it?
I think I'm gonna wait until next year to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, if only because it might compete a little bit too much with Donkey Kong. Like if they show it off next week, in a direct, or the week after, I suppose. If this rumor direct ends up being a thing, like could that affect the hype for Donkey Kong. Maybe they don't want to conflict it. They're both 3D platformers, presumably. So I don't know they'd want to. Yeah, I don't know. It's Nintendo though. It may not even matter. They probably even think about it in that sense. Who knows?
I mean, it's Nintendo. It means nothing.
It really does.
Their approach to releasing games is both magical and baffling at the same time.
It truly is. We have a comment from Chris Dickinson who asks, "What's your all's opinion on Microsoft ports, like Master Chief Collection?"
I am surprised we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, there've been rumors.
Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, I'm legitimately surprised.
Of that, right?
Summer Games Fest could be it. That might be a good one.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, they have their own showcase. I also assume that whatever Nintendo is doing, there might be a small presence of them there. Like, I do assume it's happening. I'm surprised it hasn't happened before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am too. I think, but there have been rumblings of it. I fully believe it. We're going to get a lot of Microsoft ports, I think. And I think probably on the sooner end rather than later. Aghanim says, Conquer back on Switch 2. Yes! I mean, they can even bring over the Xbox remaster of that game, right? Like, not just on NSO. Like, bring back port that. That'd be amazing.
Reloaded? Yeah.
I don't know if they would. It's only on the Rare Replay right now, but... Actually, is it even in Rare Replay? I think it is in Rare.
I don't think it's on...
It's the 64 one on Rare Replay. Yeah, you're right,
I think it's only 64.
Yeah. I don't know.
Chat, let us know, because I actually never played Rare Replay, but again, I think it's only Banjo-Kazooie from 64, Banjo-Tooie in the first one, and then Conquer from 64, not Live and Reloaded.
Yeah. Koopa Dude says, bring the Indiana Jones game to Switch. That's another one that is... right? That could happen, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Especially, it just came to PS5 a few months ago, right? Like maybe a month or two ago. And then Forza just came to PS5. So yeah, I think Summer Games Fest will definitely be seeing a lot more Microsoft-specific games coming to Switch too.
Yeah. I want to talk about real quick. Oh, hold on. Aghanim says, dude, Joy-Con motion-controlled whip. Yes, it could be the ultimate platform for Indiana Jones. I remember having, for whatever reason, I remember with Wind Waker, before it even came out, I remember having dreams of there being like a motion-controlled controller before the Wii even happened. I remember seeing that whip you could use. I'm like, oh, how cool would it be if there were a controller we could actually like whip, use your like whip in with the motion. And of course we ended up having that idea with Wii. So let's hope it happens, again now with Indiana Jones on Switch 2. All right.
What Tom Inbound is saying is interesting. Do you think we'll get the Nintendo playtest game this year? The participants played some kind of beta last year. Yeah, they did play a game, huh? An open world sort of
game
building. Yeah.
The game that we can't talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't show or talk about.
I mean, I'm technically wasn't allowed to be in the program because I'm in a country that was outside the program, so I can say whatever I like. But it's interesting. They haven't really spoken about it since that happened.
No.
Yeah.
I honestly, it felt like it was more a proof of concept, maybe a tech test as well. I feel like whatever that game ends up being, it's very far from completion. That's my take on it. And unless it ends up being like a completely free NSO type thing, in which it just evolves over time. But I don't think we see that for a while.
I mean, it should be like a third pillar of their free NSO games.
It would be, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and it would be kind of cool to have a title that we see like evolve in real time, from Nintendo. Like, hey, that's something different. Here's this kind of random idea we're exploring. Let's see how it changes. So
I mean, they're still going on with Tetris tournaments, so who knows, right?
That's a good point.
And F-Zero, they're still supporting 99.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right. I want to talk about some of the leaks we've been seeing. Some Switch 2s are already out there. Some people have recorded the boot up animations and some of the early setup. The thing is, there isn't a whole lot you can do with the system right now because it requires a day one update that's not out yet, so you can't even play games or anything on this thing. But what do we think what we've seen of it so far? Like, Don, you showed me a video this morning of like the initial entry into the home screen having this kind of cute little animation where all the icons pop up with different unique sounds. Yeah. Have you seen any of this, Nick, yourself too, or?
Yeah, I watched one. I think it was like someone maybe in like Russia got a hold of the Switch 2. And I looked through the menus, and if I looked super quickly, I don't think I would have been able to notice that it was a Switch 2. Like, that's how similar it is.
I know.
Like, if I did a first look, I'm like, wait a minute.
But guys, the icons are now round.
Right? Yeah.
And there was music briefly during the setup, and then it goes away once you get to the home screen. So
I think I did notice, unless it's on Switch 1, I mean, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can access your Mii creator in the system settings now instead of like going to your profile icon at the top left. So I think that's new, unless that was in
I
Switch
don't
1.
think that's new. I will grab my Switch
Yeah,
right
check right
now.
now. because
While
I'm
Don
gonna-
checks that, I just want to read this super chat because Roger sent
Yeah.
it twice now. I don't want to make them keep resending it, even though I appreciate the super chats. Roger says no port of Reloaded Conquer,
Nope,
port
it's
N64
there.
or a remake. So
Nope, it's there. Nope.
Yeah, so again, like I had no idea.
Well,
The
there you
way I
go.
edit my Mies, I always go to the top left.
what
What was interesting about that video, the only thing interesting outside of that boot animation was like, Switch 2 is currently running on 1900.
wait, sorry, say
So
that
it's-
again. The OS.
Yeah, the OS of Switch 2 is currently running without the day one update on 1900.
Which
So
is
it cannot interact with any Switch 1
right.
whatsoever right
That's
now.
behind the current original
Yeah.
Switch OS.
Yeah.
How weird is it, by the way, that we're getting a brand new console that's running essentially the same OS as the current system? Even using the same
Yeah.
numbering scheme. That's so weird, isn't it? I don't know. I just feel like
So basically, the day one patch is literally the firmware upgrade to
that's
20.00.
hilarious. That's so
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, so it's unique in how ununique the Switch 2's OS is. Like, yeah, Nick, as you were saying, like it's almost gonna feel like you're just not playing anything different because it's so similar to the Switch, right? At least in the OS form. The main new difference is like there's a couple of new icons there, right? Like the game chat icon.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
another one too, isn't there? Game Share's on Switch 1 now too. So
Game shares on.
So the only thing they changed also is that how news is handled and how it looks.
sorry, on how what's handled?
News.
Oh,
news
right,
button.
that's right. The
Yeah.
news tab.
Yeah.
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 That should just be Nintendo Today. Like that should, or they should merge those two together. Nintendo Today and news. So,
Yep.
anyways, we had a comment here from Roger says wasn't sure the first one went through, no confirmation. All right, thank you, Roger, appreciate that. Was that a comment from Aussie who asks, how do you feel about paying $10 for Welcome Tour? Well, we already know Don's already like
Don's
pre-ordered
on
this game,
board.
right?
I'm gonna download it from the Japanese eShop for $6.
Nice, save a few bucks there. Nick, how about you?
I'm just gonna watch it through Don. I'll live vicariously through him,
Yeah.
so I can get all the
Thanks.
information or look up a video online on YouTube. But yeah, I don't have any interest in playing this unless one of my friends pick it up and I try it. But yeah, like like Don, I'll watch you play it. But yeah, no, I'm gonna be busy playing other stuff day one.
I'm an archiver for that stuff, so I do want to check it out. I check most of first party stuff out, regardless of if it's good or not.
Right, so that's fair. Yeah, I mean, right now I don't really have any desire to check out more of it. I played it at the Switch 2 event. Like, it had some neat things, but the thing is, like, principally, I mean, it's weird. $10 like isn't outrageous, but I think principally when you look at what that game is, it's like it just feels like it would have been better to have it be like a free downloadable pack-in title, or at least tied to NSO or something. Like, hey, thanks for subscribing. Here's a free bonus that tells you more about your Switch 2, right? And it just seems like it was such, especially the timing of everything, it was such poor messaging to have that available at any cost. At the same time they're announcing $80 games. It's like that could have been like a beacon of goodwill from Nintendo, and they completely squandered the messaging with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
But also they want money.
they do.
Would Doug Bowser or Bill Trent say like maybe flexible pricing or variable pricing is what they're looking into? But then again, like if you look at Switch 1, like why was 1-2 Switch $50?
Right.
That makes no sense, right? Like I
Was
have no idea why that
one to Switch $50 or was 40?
it was 50, at least here in the States, because if you want to buy
Okay.
it, still every once in a while I looked if it's on sale, it's still $50. It's like, why is this a $50 game?
Because
wow.
that is cheap by Nintendo standards, being $10 less
right?
than
Yeah,
$60.
that's cheap by their standards.
It's like, that game. I don't even think it ended up like selling. Well, I don't think it sold like extremely well. So I think it sold okay, which is probably why they charged $50 for it. They wanted the early hype before people even realized what the game even was, and they're buying it regardless of what the price is, right? Yeah. I guess Welcome Tour is the closest thing we had to something like that. But at least to his credit, it's not $50. It's only $10. But at the same time, I look at 1-2 Switch, and as kind of dumb as that game was, I think I had more fun with it than I will with Welcome Tour. So.
Does Welcome Tour even have any multiplayer options? Like, is this just something I'll be playing and my friends are gonna be watching?
It's a single player thing, yeah.
I wish.
So that's the thing, like, with Welcome Tour, you're at least playing with friends.
Yeah.
I also feel that the developers of Welcome Tour looked at the Osaka Expo currently going on in Japan. It's like, we can have our own expo at home on Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah, we had the expo at home, and it cost $10. So yeah. The Artisan says, but Welcome Tour, on the other hand, absolutely should have been a pack-in game. Yeah, I mean, if this were the Reggie era, I think he would have fought for that. He would have argued that should be a pack-in title, and I think it honestly would have helped the messaging. Obviously, you know, $450 would still be expensive for some people, though I think it's reasonable for the hardware regardless. But you pack in a title with that. Even if it's a kind of silly lightweight title, I think that does help. You know, PlayStation 5 came with that Astrobot game, which I think looks way better than Welcome Tour did. In any case, I think that also helped in that, you know, it helped people stomach that price point then too. So how the gamer says Welcome Tour is cheap enough that they don't care, they'll buy it. I mean, that's the thing too. Like $10 isn't the worst thing in the world. It's just like it just feels like they missed the bullseye they could have had with it, you know. So
Jinx says Fast Fusion is the best launch title. I mean, to a certain extent, I do agree, because hey, it's $15. It's cheaper than Fast RMX was at the Switch 1 launch. Plus, it supports game share both locally and online, so it has a good feature set for $15.
It does, and yeah, and their games always look amazing. And I'm only just slightly bummed that doesn't support 120 frames per second at launch, because they're the kind of developer I think would have nailed that on day one. And it sounds like it's. I've heard that I think there is a patch coming eventually that should add that. Maybe is that
yes. But there's already a bunch of different frame rate and resolution options at launch already. They're already expanding that on that too, which is sort of insanity.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of new features and stuff, we got that overview trailer of Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV. I can't believe I actually remember that title. I think I got that right? What a long title. But we got a new overview trailer last night, and it showed off some new things that we didn't know about. Dawn was immediately telling me about this. I'm like, oh my god, they're showing off new stuff. And what's cool is they're showing off stuff that isn't just part of, like, you know, these new side modes. They tie back into the main game, where there's now 2 new ways of playing it, including the the 2-player team mode, where it's 2 versus 2, and there's a new item, the friendship dice, and you can do things like have one person buy an item and the other person on your team use that same item in that same turn, which is awesome. But then there's also the other new mode, which I think you were excited for, Don, being
Frenzy.
Sorry, what's it called?
Frenzy.
It's a Frenzy, okay. Where you play the final 5 turns. Like, there's only 5 turns. It's basically the final 5 turns of any normal board game. That's all you play, though. You start off with, 50 coins. You can, you start off with 1 star as well, I believe.
1 star.
There's 2 stars you can buy at a time, potentially. What else, Don?
And double dice.
Oh, we start with a double dice. And can you, what else you can do? Can you buy more items at once or something? Or there's something else, too, I thought.
No, so there are... at the beginning, it starts with the roulette that you get in home stretch,
right?
Which is either 2 spaces, more Bowser spaces, and 1 more other event that I don't know from the top of my head. Oh, you get double coins on the spaces, and it then immediately starts. And even if you land on the same space within the first turn of that 5-turn game, you immediately start a duel.
Wow!
So it instantly becomes insanity.
That's awesome. Like, that's great. Like, this is kind of cool. Like, this is perfect for, like, if you just want to play a little bit of Mario Party, you don't have time to commit to a full hour or something. Like, I suspect this will probably take maybe half an hour for a board game. And that's really cool and interesting. But also, like, that's barely, in many cases, that's not even enough time to do a full lap around the board. So I'm really curious to see how this actually ends up feeling, you know? Like, this is going to be very different than anything we've seen before from Mario Party.
Are they even going to do bonus star, for example? Is there a bonus star in a 5-turn game?
I guess there can be.
The halfway mark. There's no halfway mark between 5, right?
There literally isn't, yeah. That's a good one. I guess not. Like, but are there awards at the end of the game? Maybe that's what Dylan's asking. Like, are there those bonus stars, like the event stars? Yeah.
Oh, at the end, okay.
I don't know. It's crazy. I love it. This is so different. I only wish, though, that there were more boards as part of this, too. Like, that's the thing I really care about the most. Especially they made a board kind of, like, designed with these new ideas in mind. Like, Frenzy, for instance. Like, a really short board or something. That could be really... Like, what if you could, like, every 10 spaces is a star, right? So just how many stars can you get by, like, lapping this board or something? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't expect these changes, so it's nice to see them actually doing this for the Switch 2 edition. My hope is that they'll have a toggle for the Jamboree buddies, Like that was my biggest hope. Like seeing this gives me a little bit of hope that there might be an option for that. But I don't think this is something that they would need to cover in this overview trailer. So maybe this is something that we could wait and see when the game comes out. Do you guys think they'll change that at all? Will we have a toggle for Jamboree buddies?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because even in tag team, despite them not being Jamboree buddies, the friendship die basically acts like your Jamboree buddies because your friend comes over to your space and all the events trigger twice. But I'm super excited also for tag team. Tag team hasn't been in the Mario Party game since I think definitely was in 7. I'm not sure if it was in 8, but it's been a while since tag team was there in the first place.
Although Super Mario Party did have that kind of similar co-op mode too, though, where you could play as a team together.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's I mean proper like tag team action on the board hasn't been there for a while. And the fact they're also building an item around that sounds really interesting.
It does. I hope that means we see increased prominence of 2 versus 2 games in that mode. I don't know how exactly they would do it, but I would love if we saw more of those. And also if they added, even more mini games. I mean, I guess they are. We do know there are more mini games coming as part of the camera and microphone options, which is great.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of those were 2 versus 2 though. Oh, there was actually. There was that air hockey one. So
air hockey was
with the mouse, which is great. So, yeah.
I'm definitely also interested in the coaster where you play a bunch of mouse mini games with friends. That sounds also kind of fun.
It does. So I'm excited for this. I'm a big fan of Mario Party in general. It's fun to see new content. It is a little weird though that these 2 new modes, as far as we know, are locked to the Switch 2 edition when there's really no reason for that to be. Like they don't need the power of Switch 2 to run, So
I mean, you can also game share, which is also weird because it's only one board and 30 mini games.
That's a good point, right?
Yeah.
And do we even know if we can use these new modes in Game Share, Don? Or
we don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it's only party rules, unfortunately.
Oh, you might be right.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see, and that's coming up on the sooner end of things too, just in July. So it's, again, these Switch 2 editions I think are really interesting, and I hope we actually see more of them, like maybe Mario Maker 2.
I mean, to that point, we get 2 games within the span of like a week, which is like the Switch 2 edition of Mario Party and Donkey Kong Bonanza.
It's kind of crazy, I know. I think it's an interesting idea what they're doing here with these Switch 2 editions. Johnny asks, how hyped are you guys for the hint and many music? So I think what Johnny's referring to is the setup music we already talked about, the setup videos that have been leaking from Switch 2, which had some music. But I don't think that means anything for the Switch 2 OS itself, unless I missed anything. Right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
We've seen videos from... Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so is there music playing when you're going into different menus?
Well, no.
I didn't realize that.
For this in the setup.
The initial setup.
I did hear that. Yeah, I did hear that.
It's kind of like how Windows used to have, like Windows XP, you go through the setup and hear music, but then there's nothing when you actually use Windows itself. So I don't think it means anything for it, and we've already seen videos from Nintendo themselves using the OS, and there was no music there. I mean, they could have turned it off, but I suspect that it just doesn't exist. I don't think there's any home menu music at all.
Yeah, it'd be weird if they were trying to keep that like a secret.
Yeah.
It would be weird if there's no... I still find it weird that they got rid of menu music. Like, PlayStation 5 sort of does it. When you hover over an icon, you get like a preview of the game with music.
Right.
And it's also sometimes like really cool. Like, I think back on Wii U, which one of the fun things it did is that when you boot up a game, it has this preview screen with a little jingle playing before it boots into the game.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah. I like that too. You're right. Yeah. No, that was a fun little. Yeah, just give you a little flair of the game before starting it up. And in fact, that's one of the things that not upset me, but like that I missed in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Switch, that we didn't get the awesome like 10-second boot up music I had on Wii U. I'm like, oh, we're missing it. Like it's not the definitive edition without that music. So
yeah.
C. Tarno asks an interesting question. Will Switch 2 editions take up a separate slot on the home menu, or will it overwrite the Switch 1 games?
It's an upgrade pack, right? So I think it was just overwrite the existing Switch 1 game.
That's what I'm hoping, because I don't want it to be how PlayStation handles it. Because if you put in a PS4 disc with a game that has a PS4 and a PS5 version, I'm pretty sure it shows both of those on the screen.
Yeah, it's kind of
annoying. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
At the same time, then, how is it going to work if you want to play multiplayer with like someone who's using the Switch 1 edition, right? Like if I want to play Mario Party against, on my Switch 2 with someone who's playing on Switch 1 without using Game Share, how is that good? Can you do that from the Switch 2 edition itself, or do you need that Switch 1 edition still to do that?
I'm going to assume that you can, because party mode is still available on both versions of the game. But it would be nice to have that confirmed, yeah.
I mean, I guess ideally it is just the one version, the Switch 2 edition, and it's just smart enough to know that you can play with Switch 1 in some instances, but not in these other modes unique to Switch 2. So, yeah. Mario Kart Gamer Dude asks, what's the first thing you guys are going to play in Mario Kart World? Good question. Nick, what are you going to boot up first in that game?
So
are you gonna free roam it? Are you gonna race it? What are you gonna?
I think I might be playing with my friends like offline, so I might go for 4-player split screen right away.
Wow.
Because since we're going to the launch. Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, like, do I really want to see it running at 30 frames like right away? Like, so I might just have them sit to the side and watch me play open world and just drive around. So it might be either one of those two.
Yeah. How about you, Don?
What about you guys?
Either open world because, as I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of like games like Forza Horizon where I just mess around with stuff.
Yeah.
Or I will just straight up go into Grand Prix and doing them all back to back to back to back. It's an either or scenario what I feel like doing first, really, at the moment.
Yeah.
Andre, are you going straight for online?
I think I want to, but on the other hand, I want to like work toward the unlock of Rainbow Road as well, too, you know? But I think I'll probably do a Knockout Tour first. I think Knockout Tour is where it's at. And I probably would do that online, I think. So yeah, that probably will be the first thing I do. I just love Knockout Tour so much at the Switch 2 event in Dallas that I can't wait to play more of it. Fawn says Grand Prix for them. C. Tarno says the exact same thing. Oh, here's a question Jinx has. Does the mouse function work on Switch 1 games? As far as we know, it only works with games that are updated for it. And the only game we know of so far is Game Builder Garage. That's being updated, a free update that will work with the Switch 2 mouse. Because there are other Switch 1 games that do use a mouse, I believe, like a USB mouse. But as far as we know, they need to be updated, I believe, to take advantage of it.
I mean, there are also third-party games at launch that already were released on Switch 1, which are now going to upgrade on Switch 2, which do include mouse support. So, for example, Civilization has it. Yeah. I think Hogwarts Legacy has it. There are some others, but those are the first two that immediately come to mind. But yeah, there's a bunch of them that support also mouse controls if you just buy the upgrade for those games.
So there you go. Yeah, it's game dependent. And hopefully everything that supports the mouse will upgrade will be upgraded to use it. Because I think it's a great feature of Switch 2. Actually, here's a question. Like outside of the games themselves, what feature of the Switch 2 are you most interested in? Are you most hyped for at this moment in time? Is there anything that you can think of that you're really excited to try out?
I mean, for me, it's just having it in handheld mode, because once again, I have a long commute when I go to work, which is about 2 hours one way.
Right.
Like, I look forward to actually playing on a 1080p screen with the Switch controls that it has. And for example, putting the mouse down, having the strap in like one of the pockets of my case, and then playing a mouse-controlled game on the tray table of my train for an hour and a half. That's the weird thing I'm looking forward to, and that's sort of the stuff that's weirdly exciting to me. Like the overall all-day use of the Switch 2 is actually what excites me, because it empowers me to play games better than it did with Switch 1.
That makes sense. Totally. How about you, Nick?
I'm most excited for probably trying out like the mouse controls, but again, like on day one, I don't think there's really anything to try with the mouse controls.
No.
Right?
Yeah, except for unless you want to play Game Builder Garage. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah,
really
I don't even have Game Builder Garage, so that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to miss out on. And I think the first like big game that I'm looking forward to with the mouse controls is Metroid Prime 4,
which is
like
awesome
outside of that.
Yeah,
which I'm so excited for, but it's just so unfortunate that they don't have like a big title or something to showcase the mouse control.
Welcome Tour, baby.
Yeah, there you go. We're going back to Welcome
Tour. I mean, there are third-party games that support it if you're any interested in those, and also the home menu also supports mouse control. So it's not the end of the world. You can still try it. It won't be the same, of course.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be messing around on the home menu, just going back.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You'll be the one person who's like, I'm just gonna do it on the home menu, nowhere else.
Yeah, the Artisan says new Mario Paint would be ideal. Hopefully, it's announced in September. Actually, that is a smaller scale title. I say smaller scale in quotes. Not like a AAA high budget thing that I think could easily slip into this year, if they wanted to. And I do think it is a little sad that there isn't like a simple fun app like that for you, Nick, just to play around with a mouse, right? Like they showed in Nintendo Today yesterday, they showed off a little balloon type thing where you can pop the balloons, and I'm like, that's a cool idea. The implementation they did looks super lame, But like, it would have been fun if there were like a simple mini game in it. Like just rip off the Fly Swatter game from Mario Paint. Actually, just make that part of the Switch too. Like just something fun that we can play around with immediately.
It's crazy they don't have it again, unless we go back to Welcome Tour. Like you look at 3DS and they had that like what was it, like the Find Me or whatever, where you, like that your head was on a block and it like flew around.
Oh yeah,
or
the
something
AR
like
games.
that.
Yeah.
Space Raiders.
Yeah, the AR games.
Space
You like
Raiders.
go around like this. Like, I'm just
Raiders.
shocked. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
shocked they
yeah.
don't have anything like that outside of Welcome Tour. But yeah, there should have been something like that.
It is kind of funny how Nintendo kind of like just like tried AR once and they're like, nope, we're not doing this ever again. But that does kind of remind me of one of the things I'm kind of excited for now is a stupid camera, because they are kind of doing this interesting thing where they're like using it to put you in the game in different ways, whether it's like a little profile picture or an animated, you know, a live feed of your face during Mario Kart or Mario Party, which is awesome, or or even in Mario Party, they have the whole mode dedicated to it now, where they literally put you into the Bowser mode, and you're doing like these iToy-like mini games, and that seems fun. Like iToy was super gimmicky, and I'm sure this is super gimmicky too. Like I played it a little bit, and you know I enjoyed it. And I probably won't go back to the whole lot, but I like that it's there, and I'm really excited to see how else they use it. And so far, they're using it exactly how I would want them to. Like having that Mario Kart arcade-like feature where you can see your opponent's face, you know, in real time. And I almost wish that they gave an option to be able to do it even outside your friend group. You know, I know that's playing with fire at that point, but I would love it if you could just do it online to see everyone's reactions, you know.
You can also do it in Mario Kart, apparently. So we'll experience that on day one.
Yeah, with your friends only, though, right? Yeah.
Yes, but
that's
also
awesome.
think you can do it online. So.
And I mentioned the Puyo Puyo feature we saw earlier today from Sega, where your entire face is the backdrop for your playing board, and that's hilarious too. So I want to see more things like that. And Nintendo has even more creative uses of incorporating the camera. That could be really neat. Like, you know, dumb things like we've seen in other games, but like maybe there's a stealth game where you have to be like really still and quiet in real life, and you make any noise, like a Zelda game where the enemies will pick up on your presence, you know, or something. I could see fun, silly things like that being incorporated into Nintendo games that I could think could be a lot of fun.
You say like cute little things like that. I could see in Metroid Prime 4, like when you see the visor instead of Samus, like it's you. Can you imagine that? Like when you're in first person mode, like she's breathing in it, and you could see the reflection of yourself in the visor.
True FLM is creating my true nightmares. Like a new WarioWare camera would be cool. Hey, remember WarioWare snapped for the Nintendo DSi?
Yeah, exactly. Bring that back, or do something more elaborate. Nick, actually, no, you're hitting on an awesome idea there. Like, what if in Metroid Prime 4, like, it could read your head movement, so you could like, actually look around, and the screen would actually move to match where you're looking in the game in real life?
Yeah, I think again, like who knows how long Nintendo is going to be supporting this kind of like camera gimmick or whatnot. But again, another game where this would fit perfect would be like Star Fox, when you have your team.
Oh my god,
the screen.
Pop-ups.
Like, yeah, you're just like, yeah, the little pop-ups. Yeah, you're like your face is moving in like 5 frames. It's like the puppet mouth or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be great. That needs to actually that works perfectly with the game with the camera's low frame rate anyway.
Yeah,
Or not the camera, the feed, but yeah, be great. So. Yokai Dude says they should make a new Kid Icarus, since the mouse controls would be nice, especially they brought back Together mode from Uprising. Yeah, I mean we talked about that before.
Yeah,
that seems like a really obvious port that they should do, or remaster, I guess they should do for Switch 2. So, Abdullah asks, will mouse controls work with Mario Kart World? I don't think they said anything about that,
No.
right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
I mean, there's not. The only place it could really work would be the menus, and maybe like some of the free roam stuff, like the binoculars. But I don't know if it'd be worth it. So yeah.
No.
Yeah. Chris says they want to see I want to see my Animal Crossing Island on that Switch 2 screen. Yeah, you'll have the opportunity. We know that's one of the things they'll be automatically carried over, right? So you don't have to do the separate porting process this time, which is nice. Kuro says, well, that depends which one would we get first, Star Fox or Kid Icarus? Oh, man.
Oh, God.
I say Star Fox, not just because I like Star Fox over Kid Icarus, but I think Sakurai's probably busy with his hands with Kirby and probably another Smash Bros. So a new Kid Icarus, I don't think we're going to see for some time. Unless it's like a port of Uprising, which we could see that a lot sooner than later. But yeah, with Sakurai being so busy as he is, I think Kid Icarus is kind of somewhat on the back burner, at least a new one.
Who would make Star Fox then?
That just hurts me because like that's the biggest issue with Star Fox, because they find a different developer for like every single game. It's like, we'll give it to Platinum, we'll give it to Rare, we'll give it to Bandai. Like everyone, that's the biggest issue with Star Fox. They've never found a solid developer to stick with it and see it for the long run. It's always been like, here, you try it out, you try it out, you try it out.
Yeah, it's even funny. Even the first Star Fox games weren't really internally developed, made by Argonaut, right? I think Star Fox 64, is that the only actual Nintendo developed Star Fox game?
I think it is. I think Star Fox 64 is the only one because I believe Command was also an outside studio for
Yeah, that was done
DS.
by that was still done by the original creator. I don't know if it was Argonaut at that point, but the original, not the original. You know what I mean?
Was it made by, I thought it was made by Q.
Yeah, Q. That's
Yeah.
it. Yep. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah, that's crazy. How crazy is that? We have like a Nintendo IP that's barely even used by Nintendo themselves or made by Nintendo themselves. They should.
What about? Do you guys know Star Fox 2? Was that also Argonaut? It probably was.
That was
right?
Argonaut,
Because it was
yeah.
so close.
That's Argonaut,
it was so
yeah.
close from the first one.
Yep. We had a chat from Funkin Fungoid who asks, will Pokemon saves need to be manually transferred, or is it like Animal Crossing? Do we know for sure?
So normally obviously with Pokemon saves, you will need to do it manually per user, but with the system transfer feature, it'll all be done in one go, similar to Animal Crossing, a bunch of other games that don't support
Like Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2 also doesn't support it now.
So everything. So it sounds like everything that's on your Switch 1 should be brought over to Switch 2.
Should be good to go.
Yeah, but one thing to note: if you do that, nothing can go back. Like everything will be moved over to Switch 2. There will be nothing left on that Switch 1.
Right. Okay. It's gonna be just a blank.
It will just go back immediately from the initial boot menu.
Right.
If you want to use it with those user accounts again, you will have to re-put those user accounts on there.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so it's a full-on system reset.
Yeah.
So can't you then put your user on there and just do the virtual game share card?
Of course,
or the
you
virtual
can.
Card? Like,
but that system will start from fresh.
Got it. True LFM has an idea for Star Fox. Give it the next level of games. They are competent to make good entries in dormant franchises. Yeah, they've done that for. They did it for Punch Out, Luigi's Mansion, and of course they invented Mario Strikers. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, they would have a blast creating animations for the Star Fox characters. Like with how good their visual department is, like I think they would do a good job with Star Fox.
I would love if they actually did mimic that puppet style of the first game's box.
Right. Yeah. To Chris Dixon's point, so I don't need to wear Transfer Island tool for Animal Crossing. No, you don't. It all goes immediately to Switch 2. Once again, everything that was on the Switch 1 then goes away. Bye.
Tom and Bound brings up
because it was a pain.
It was a pain. We had to do a couple videos on it. Still confuse people. Tom and Bound has a fun point. Hey You Pikachu is now possible on N64 Online thanks to the built-in microphone of the Switch 2. That's right. They can bring it back. About time.
I want to meet the person who intensely loves Hey You Pikachu, and I say this as a Pokemon fan.
You know, that reminds me, they could actually bring in the Game Boy Pocket or the Game Boy camera as well, and use the actual Switch 2's
could,
camera.
yeah.
They could.
That'd be amazing. Oh my goodness. Hector says, yeah, you don't need the Animal Crossing transfer tool anymore. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So, anything else? Is there anything else about Switch 2 we haven't touched on yet that we need to? Now that we're only a week away, which is crazy still, again.
So there was one thing which could potentially cover that November release.
Okay.
So apparently about like a few weeks ago during EVO Japan, which is a fighting game tournament, Arc System Works, which makes Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, they were apparently hacked. And apparently during the hack, someone found a code name for an up-and-coming Switch 2 exclusive game. So it is possible that this could be maybe like a fighting game because they're known for making fighting games.
Right.
So if it's exclusive to Switch 2, it's possible that it could be maybe a game where it focuses on like Fire Emblem characters or maybe Xenoblade or something. Where, again, like if it's exclusive to Switch 2, it's probably using IP that's tied to Nintendo if it's not coming to other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But again, yeah, it's hard to say if this is actually going to come fruition. And if it is, like maybe that's the one Nintendo game they do show at Summer Games Fest, if not shortly after at the June Direct.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of potentials for smaller stuff at that Direct for sure. Like to me, like the big games are already known. I have the feeling there's one or two more things for Switch 1 and then a bunch of smaller stuff here and there. But it's mostly going to come down to third parties at this point, right? Like it feels been weirdly quiet, and I think there's a bunch of people with a bunch of stuff to announce, which they're likely waiting for a Direct for.
Right.
Yeah, and you said like third party, like we don't even have release dates for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is third party. We don't even have a release date for like Elden Ring, which is third party. And those are major titles. Like those can fill in the gap for people that have been on Switch 1 and no other platforms like this year. So there's definitely going to be reaching a new audience with those games that have been around for quite some time. But again, the Nintendo fan base might have been missing out on these games.
True has a fun question. True FLM. What's your fever dream game to come to Switch 2? New Mario Maker, unique Zelda, new 2D Metroid, hell, a new Pushmo?
Dylan's Rolling Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's our
wrong,
fever
Mark's
dream game we want? Yeah,
It feels weird because my two fever dream games were announced on the March 27th Nintendo
Yeah.
Direct,
that's a
which
good one.
were
You got lucky.
Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven.
Right. All right, well, I'll one up you there, Don. My fever dream is Stun Race FX2, baby! Which is never going to happen. I know it. It's never going to happen. That's my fever dream, though. I will love if they did something new with that series, but...
Is that going to happen before Star Tropics or after?
Oh, man. Oh, my God. That's probably... I feel like Star Tropics has probably more of a recognized fan base, so I think it would happen after Star Tropics.
Oh my God.
I know. How much is not happening, so...
Man knew that True says that like a new Pushmo would actually be really nice, actually.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Especially
I love those games.
Like, they'll work well
I
with
love
mouse controls
those
too, I feel like, right? They can
For sure. Yeah.
Eric,
Especially when creative puzzles.
yeah, good point. Eric
Yeah.
says a new Zelda in the Wii U tech demo art style. I want that.
I love that art
I
style.
keep seeing it come up on my timeline, like on Twitter. I'm like, man, I still want a Zelda that looks like that, you know? Breath of the Wild looks great, but man, that art style looks amazing in that Wii U tech demo. So I would love for them to finally deliver on that. Yeah. What else here?
Yeah, true. To go back to your question, my pick is Star Fox.
Yeah.
Next year's gonna be the 10-year anniversary of Star Fox. So, and I know Nintendo loves saying it's been so and so years since this game's come out. So, like, I think they're just waiting on for that and be like, oh, this has been 10 years since Star Fox has come out, the last Star Fox. So, yeah, that's my pick.
Then they can add him as a playable character in Mario Kart World, have like a little converting R-Wing from a Landmaster into an R-Wing, you know, and it'll be amazing.
Lark says a new Mario Sluggers.
Yes! Those baseball games are so good. We need them. It's the only one
In Europe, we only got the GameCube one. Never got the Wii one.
Yeah, well, that was a better one anyway, in my opinion.
I didn't really want another one of those. Yeah.
I prefer GameCube.
Yeah, it was so good. I forget. I have to go back and replay the Wii one to remember what they screwed up. I remember not liking the batting as much. Maybe it was the motion controls. I just didn't like them as much in that game. But yeah,
The thing the Wii one had over GameCube was the character selection. It was ginormous. They had so many characters.
They
And you
did.
could pick the same character but different colors, which was definitely missing from the GameCube one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let me have multiple Piantas, but it's like, no, you can only have one color one, and that's it.
It was kind of like Mario Kart World before Mario Kart World in terms of like all the minions you could play as and everything.
So when do you think Nintendo will realize, hey, we should put Mario Kart Double Dash on GameCube NSO?
Probably, I think it's gonna be a while, honestly. I think they want to focus entirely on Mario Kart World. Not that it would have a big effect either way. I just think they don't want any possible confusion. I don't think we see Double Dash for at least a year, sadly.
So yeah, when we first saw the GameCube games for NSO, and we didn't see Double Dash, obviously because of Mario Kart World. Like, I mean, going back to like my Star Fox like rant, like there was no Star Fox on that list, no Adventures, no Assault. So like, does that add a little bit of hope that we could see it in the future at least?
Oh, I'm definitely thinking
like a new Star Fox. I'm saying.
Okay, new Star Fox. But I'm more so thinking like they should bring stuff like Adventures to GameCube NSO for sure. It'll be fun.
I think they'll bring Adventures and Assault at some point.
Contra 3. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, and also we already know that Pokemon games are coming. There's a bunch of stuff already lined up, especially games that are really expensive now to buy.
Yeah,
if you want the
like
GameCube
Radiance is on there.
Oh yeah. And I'm glad I kept my GameCube library because yeah, they are expensive. Even like niche games. Well, I guess that makes more sense to be expensive. Like Donkey Kong Jungle Beat's like $100 if you want to get that in the bongos, I think.
Is it really?
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember it being expensive. Welcome back, Robert. We're still going. Contra 3, who's also a member of the channel, says, we need Gauntlet Dark Legacy for the GameCube NSO or a remaster. Those Gauntlet games are a lot of fun. If you get like a group together, I would love to have one of those back. So, or add the Dreamcast to NSO, then add their Gauntlet, which our Gauntlet they had on that system.
Right.
You guys, we're gonna see third party on NS or on GameCube, right? Like
we
see,
already
like,
are.
Monkey Ball or
Soul Calibur too.
Oh, Soul Calibur. Yeah, what am I talking about? So yeah, like so Monkey Ball and Billy Hatcher and maybe like Beautiful Joe. Like those are definitely possible. Then, right?
I think so. Those are all probably safe bets. Yeah, but yeah. There's some good third party games on GameCube as well. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And yeah, and they're launching with one of the best ones being Soul Calibur. So Nico says, imagine the many possibilities of the GameCube third-party games. Yeah, exactly. There's so many. So, Eternal Darkness says Hookton Phonics. That one, yeah, I don't know who owns the rights to that anymore. I think it might be split between a few different companies, including Nintendo, maybe. So I don't know that one's ever going to happen. That one could be a pain. We'll see.
That one's rated M, right? So they would need a separate NSO GameCube mature app then, right?
Yeah, they would. Yep, you're right.
Mm.
Jillian says, should we talk about 45 years of Pac-Man? All I know is I got the Krispy Kreme donuts a couple days ago and they were delicious. So that's all. I'm satiated with my Pac-Man story.
I look forward to the weird Metroidvania based on the Pac-Man universe coming.
Oh yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Pac-Man stage that's going to be in Tekken 8. So we're all looking forward to different Pac-Man things for this year.
Wait, Don, sorry, what game did you mention?
I found it was called Shadow Labyrinth. It was also in the March.
Oh, yes, that game. Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah.
What I want, though, now that we have GameCube, Pac-Man World 2, baby! Give it to me on that GameCube NSO. That'd be amazing. Real quick, Michael says that they love watching you guys. Watching us. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you.
And 40 brought the Pac-Man World idea, too. Yeah, Pac-Man World 2 was so fun. I have it still. I should maybe do a stream of that someday. And
there's actually a Pac-Man game that I got for GameCube that uses the Game Boy Advance link cable.
Yeah, Pac-Man. Is that Pac-Man Versus? Or
I think it's Pac-Man Versus.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, it reminds me of Nintendo Land because like there's one player I think on the screen and then everyone else is playing on the Game Boy.
It's on Switch.
Yeah, it's on Switch.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I need to get it then.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think they dropped like the Charles Martinet announcer. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you remember, Don. But it's basically the exact same thing.
I don't know.
And it's awesome. Yeah, it even has like a free companion app for that second Switch that you need to play it with. Yeah. Oh my god, M-Bone says, I love watching you guys too. At night, they post like giant IMOs. I don't know what that means, M-Bone. I don't know if I want to know. Thank you, though. Connor says, do you think Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, will get a remaster for its 25th anniversary this year? No. Too many Kirby games. Though that would be a good one. Like, that's a game that'd be perfect. Like, it's such a unique Kirby game. It would be fun to see that updated with like more modern visuals. Or I would just love them to revisit the idea in general, like the ability to combine different powers. You know, like such a fun idea.
That was so fun. Yeah,
it was fun. All right, what else here?
Nintendo loves releasing Kirby games left and right. Like they release them so often.
Yeah, Kirby Air Riders.
Oh, hey, it's Paul Gill.
Hey, Paul's here. Yeah, who's doing their own countdown every day of the Switch 2. They're heading to the Summer Game Fest next week. Here's to it being a good show. Yeah, good luck, Paul. I would love to be there, but obviously with Switch 2 launching, I'm going to be too busy here covering it. But hope you have a great time. Hope it's a good show, and it would have been fun to see you there if I were able to go. So, yeah.
They're too close by to one another, unfortunately.
That's crazy. Oh, True LFM, yes, it says also that also Four Swords Adventures is extremely underrated. 1000%. Oh my god. So here's the thing. When that game came out, I don't know, I played a little bit, then never went back to it. I was playing it recently because I had the analog pocket, so it was a perfect way to play it with a few friends. And we're playing over the holidays. That game is so freaking fun. It's like legit the most fun I've had with Zelda in a long time now. I'm like, this game's amazing, and it needs to come back. And it could be amazing on Switch 2 NSO.
Well, they brought it to not the GameCube one, the Game Boy Advance,
the DSi one,
to,
right?
It was that it. They brought one of them to Game Boy Advance NSO.
Or maybe. I played through no, you're right. I think. Wait. Was it?
Yeah,
it was a GBA one. Yeah. And that
because I played through it with like friends, and it's super quick. Like if you want to play a couple hours and go through it, it's enjoyable too. And there's some cool boss fights where you have to like communicate with each other. I think there was one where you can only see specific colors, and like the Link has to hit the enemy, so you have to call out, being like, "Oh, what color is it?" I have to I can hit it now because I'm like the red Link, and you can't touch the enemy yet. But yeah, like the one on GameCube, the visuals for that are outstanding. Like, I'm shocked they haven't done anything with it since.
It blew me away going back to it. That game still looks freaking amazing. I love the top-down art style, but they modernized it with the smooth animations and everything. It looks so freaking good. Oh my goodness, we just got 2 super chats coming back to back. Let me read these real quick. XL Hedge, thank you, says, imagine if the GBA is compatible with Switch 2's GameCube titles through the GameCube controller adapter and the GBA link cable. I didn't think about this. Like, could you possibly use the Tingle Tuner in Wind Waker on GameCube NSO?
That would be crazy. What does it even do? Because I've never had the chance to actually try it out.
So the second player plays, they see like a top-down view of the map. They play as Tingle, and they can do things like drop bombs and I think collect rupees and stuff. So they're a huge help. So I love that idea. I'm gonna have to try that. I'll bet you it's not gonna work, but I really wish they did.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it will, but it will be funny.
But yeah, it totally could. You're right. There's really no reason, as far as I'm aware, that it couldn't through that setup. I mean, on a technical level, whether or not Nintendo embraces it, probably not. Venti Views with a super chat. Thank you, Venti. Says, do you know if I can copy my data from my SD card in Switch 1 onto the Switch 2? Is it as simple as plugging the SD card in and copying to Switch 2?
I don't think you can use your Switch 1 SD card because they're not
You
compatible with one another. You can only use Express cards on Switch 2. So no, you cannot use an SD card. Like everything from one system to another will go for the system transfer.
Wait, so
Anything else?
Right. So go ahead, please.
Anything else when it comes to screenshots? If you want to keep your screenshots and videos, please back it up because it will either take up space on your system menu on Switch 2. So no, anything you necessarily don't want to keep, like screenshots or videos wise, already maybe it's a good time now to already put it on your PC or anywhere, anything in your store.
Is there even anything else that could be on the SD card outside of the videos and pictures and the actual game data itself?
Yeah.
That's it, right? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically you're gonna have to re-download everything, except for the media, which you immediately back up yourself. So yeah. Thanks for the super chats, by the way. We had a few people asking us about Summer Games Fest, like what we think of it. We talked about it earlier. I think our general consensus was we're not really expecting anything major from Nintendo there because it's too close to the Switch 2 launch. There's probably a Direct coming up soon, and
I mean, are we even gonna watch the presentation when it happens on Friday?
right, exactly. I'm gonna play Mario Kart
We're
World.
watching it and playing our Switches, right?
Yeah.
It's just gonna be all
Maybe if I'm streaming, maybe I'll throw up in the corner of the stream or something as a super small thing just to keep an eye on it. But yeah.
You're gonna do it like Subway servers having it in the background.
Exactly. Bingo. Yeah, Robert brings up a good point. Third parties could be there. Absolutely. I think third parties will be there. We will see some third party Switch 2 announcements for sure. But yeah, I'm not expecting anything too big.
I think because of Switch 2, I'm not really that excited for the summer Keeleys.
Oh yeah, I wonder if Keeley. When did they decide the date for that? Like, I wonder if they're kicking themselves now for choosing that date right after Switch 2.
I think they chose it a few months ago, right?
Yeah.
Like it was definitely before the Switch 2 got released.
Oh yeah, they had it first, and then Nintendo already decided on this date, and they were like, "Well, oops,
We're
here
stuck
we go."
with it.
Yeah.
Trying to think here if there's anything. Oh, Hector asks, Nintendo made a mistake not adding analog triggers to the Pro Controller. Would have negated the GameCube controller. I 100% agree. I don't think it would have negated GameCube, but it would definitely have been a smart idea. I love those triggers, and it's sad that Nintendo has not reused them at all since. So yeah, it's kind of a missed opportunity. And it would be nice if you didn't, have to use a GameCube controller to use those features. Though you should, because the GameCube controller is amazing. Anyways.
You guys got to try out the GameCube controller at the Switch 2 event, right?
Yeah, I went hands-on with it.
What did you guys think of it? You guys liked it?
It feels almost identical. The only difference for me is that the plastic quality was a little different. I didn't like it quite as much, the general feel of the plastic. For others, they may not care. Maybe they'll prefer it. But it felt more matte to me rather than the smooth finish of the GameCube's original controller. So.
Oh, yeah. But the buttons felt...
Oh, they felt fine. Yeah, the triggers felt identical.
Yeah.
Joysticks felt identical. Yeah. Even Rumble felt identical, I believe, which is great. So, Mega Nerd X with a super chat. Thank you, Mega Nerd. Asks, anyone else still got their Four Swords bundle from NOA/Nintendo Power? Came in the big box with a GBA connector, T-shirt with Miyamoto's autograph, and Nintendo Power subscription. I don't think I even knew about that. So no, I don't have it.
I don't have it either. I just have the regular edition of the game. But yeah, I have seen it before. I had no idea it came out with all that stuff because it was a pretty big box. But to see that it came out with an autograph and a T-shirt and everything, that's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. I know. That's really cool. I wish I had it in hindsight. Even though I'm not a huge fan of those limited edition type things normally. But for that game, I might make an exception. Condor says, I really wish we got Kirby Air Ride for GameCube so then we can play it before we got Kirby Air Riders. You know what I'm saying. I know what you're saying. I wish we got it too. No chance to get it though before Air Riders on Switch. Or on Switch 2, I mean. But yeah.
Who knows?
How soon do you guys think we're going to get Mario Strikers? Because that was playable at the Switch 2 event, right? Like how soon are we going to get that part of it?
Pretty soon. Within a couple months, I'd say.
So?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to assume it's just going to randomly drop sometime in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That game's so fun too. That's still my favorite of all the Strikers games, so I'm so glad we'll have it on Switch too. Although someone pointed out to me...
Battle League was such a disappointment.
It was! Man, I know. We're finally going to have a good Mario Strikers on Switch. Can you believe? Or Switch 2. Finally.
Yeah.
Man, that was such a disappointment. I barely even played that game after its release.
I think I played it the opening night in a demo beforehand, and then never again.
Yeah, I mean that demo was enough.
And I say this as somebody who intensifies and watches the sport every single day.
Wow, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and that demo was really all you needed. Like, it had basically the full gameplay there, just short of some characters, right? It's like, you didn't really need much else.
Yeah.
It was so lacking, so disappointing.
Speaking of lacking, someone pointed out to me that the gameplay of Mario Strikers on GameCube, like the one footage we captured ourselves, it's missing the shadows from the original games. I'm hoping they get that fixed up for the final release, because those shadows, are nice to have. They make it feel a little bit, look a little bit better. So.
Like,
Connor,
the characters from like the sunlight.
The characters themselves. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know this at first, but yeah.
Connor says, "Do you think how long it will take for the Mario Party games from GameCube to come?" I would hope so. That would be lovely. I love the GameCube Mario Party games.
Same here. I think we'll see one within the first 6 months. Maybe.
Oh, hey! Robert Newton.
Oh my goodness, Robert has dropped 5 GameXplain channel memberships. Thank you so much once again, Robert. They're basically like Santa Claus here, always handing out tons of memberships. So it looks like Scott Dracula received one. True LFM got one. Let's see, 40 got one. High Remarks got one. And I don't know how to pronounce that. Astralicus? Yeah, they got one too. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for all the new memberships. They'll get early access to videos on the channel. They also get the green username and icon next to their name and other benefits as well. So that's awesome. So thanks for welcome to all of our new members. Thanks for sending those out, Robert. Very kind of you. So, whoa. All right. What else? Anything else we need to cover? We talked a lot, but is there anything?
We have talked a lot. Is there really anything else? I mean, I don't know. Are you missing anything?
I mean, we already had a whole discussion about everything we don't know, and a couple of things have been answered since then, but there's still a lot of questions left that we'll find out within a week. We're so close to this point. We're going to know all those answers very soon, so...
I mean, I could run one more time through the launch titles of Switch 2 so we can wrip it up a little bit of what the games we do know right now.
Sure, for these are launch day games, right?
Yeah. So the only one that was added since then, since I made this list, is of course Fantasy Life I. Go Who Steals Time, Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
Yeah.
The otherwise are Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, Civilization 7, Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, Deltarune, Fast Fusion, Fortnite, Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition, mouthful, Hogwarts Legacy, Mario Kart World, Nobunaga Exhibition, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma, Split Fiction, Street Fighter 6, Survival Kits, which, hey, the original Game Boy game recently released on NSO.
And that gets kind of sick, yeah.
It is kind of sick. I'm not sure about the new game, though.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that one, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Zelda Breath of the Wild, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, both Nintendo Switch 2 editions, Yakuza 0, Sonic X Shadow, Switch 2 Welcome Tour, Kitsugami, Path of the Goddess, and Arcade Archives 2, Ridge Racer.
That's pretty great, right? Like when you hear it said out loud like that, that's actually a pretty great lineup in its entirety. That's a lot of games and a lot of big games. How many are you picking up, Don?
Yeah. I'm playing a bunch, I think. So I'm already, obviously, once again, I'm already working through Fantasy Life I, but I will continue on Switch 2.
Yeah.
I will definitely pick up Fast Fusion. I already have Deltarune, so if you have Deltarune on Switch 1, you get a free upgrade to the Switch 2 version, so that's free. Obviously, with NSO plus expansion pack, I already have access to both Zeldas. I will definitely want to have Street Fighter 6 in some form, because I like that single-player mode very much, World Tour. So having it on the go is actually very nice. Outside of that, maybe also Hitman, because Hitman on the go sounds really nice, and I will pick up a physical copy of Cyberpunk.
All right, nice. Yeah, Cyberpunk's gonna be I think that's gonna be a big one for a lot of people.
I think so too, especially since it's all on the cart. Like, that's amazing. Like, I don't know how many other third-party titles are actually going to be
Not many.
on the cart.
Yeah, that's really neat. It's nice to see after like the disastrous launch the game first had, that they're kind of like making up for it now, and through the patches over the years as well. It's nice to see them like going so hard on improving what was seemingly a busted game at its launch 5 years ago. So,
Yes.
all right. Well, any final thoughts, Nick and Dawn, on the Switch 2 as we enter the final days of before its release?
I'm so excited. I just can't wait till next week.
Yeah, I won't play Mario Kart World.
It feels so close now. It's like these last few days are going to be outstandingly long.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's still going to go by quick for me, though. It's already been so quick. I think it's going to still continue to be quick for me. I'm going to wake up, like I said, and it'll be here. And I'm like, oh, sweet. It's time for Mario Kart World, you know? And I can't wait. I really want to play that game and just explore that world, too. So it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to think of what video ideas I have for it, you know? Like, I already have some ideas I want to explore with it, and I'm excited to see what other ideas come to me from playing the game itself. And I can't wait to play with the community, too. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'll be streaming that game but the very moment I can, at least for an hour or so. And should be a blast. And I think, we might be even doing earlier streams if, with Dawn, perhaps. So we need to talk to you. We need to figure that out, Dawn, what our plan is, so...
I'm down. I'm absolutely down. It also depends when I get the system in, of course, which is also going to be an issue, unfortunately. But yeah. Yeah,
well, this will be before us still. Us late release in the US here. Yeah. So weak. All right. Connor asked, do you think the next Direct will be on a Wednesday or a Friday? Because I would love to watch it on a Friday since I have work on Wednesday. Friday
it's definitely going to be a Wednesday on a Thursday.
100%.
It's never going to be on a Friday.
Have they ever done a Direct on a Friday? I think maybe once, right?
They've done it in the past.
Okay,
it's just been a while.
Just rare,
you know?
Yeah. It'll be Wednesday, though, for sure. Or at least midweek, I agree. So...
yeah.
All right, chat. I think we'll wrap it up there. Unfortunately, I would love to keep talking about Switch 2, but we got other things we need to work on. I'm sure Don and Nick do as well. But it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. Real quick, Nick, where can people follow you at if they want to see more of your stuff?
Yeah, besides here on the channel, you can go to my channel, which is Steftendo. That's STEFTNDL.
All right. And how about you, Don?
You can find me at Nintendo, that's NENTNDAAN. Post a video every 2 days. Obviously, with Switch 2, there's a bunch of Switch 2 first looks coming on my end as well.
All right.
But also stuff on here, obviously.
Yeah, well, stay tuned, everyone. Should be a lot of fun. Can't believe we're only a week away still. It's so close to being here. Tall Show says the Direct will only be on the Nintendo Today app. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? The worst.
And you can't screen record it or anything.
No, you can't. You're right. There's no way to watch it outside of the app. My God.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Let's hope not. No. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's been a ton of fun. And stay tuned for more from us about Switch 2 and everything else, especially on launch day. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. We'll catch you later, everyone. Bye.